20 to go. Columbia was over on the Mackerel Cove, Jamestown side, sailing pretty close. She was above the line. She's actually still above the line now, and she's, you know, throwing coal in the boiler, and my guess is they're going to get up to speed and bear off and come around the stern of the committee boat and come up on the wind and cross and head over to the Castle Hill shoreline. I suspect they're going to have to tack not too long after starting, because they don't have the ability to point as high as almost every other boat on the racecourse except Spirit of Bermuda. So they are, we got 1:30 to go, and they are above the line reaching down, and it's always tricky to second guess somebody in their boat when they've been sailing it forever, and we're sitting here in the back of the launch looking at it, trying to gauge what I'd be doing.
We're definitely trying to bring you the pictures of these boats that are starting right now.
Yeah.
They're just approaching the starting line here.
They're about Columbia's about.
I think I just heard the 1 minute gun.
That'd be right.
There's the Spirit of Bermuda there, and the yacht Columbia. You're seeing them from the leeward side of the line as they're you're looking upwind at them as they're going to the line.
35 seconds.
Yep.
And Columbia is 2 boat lengths from the start boat, and you know, it's hard to tell how fast these go because they're so big and their motion is so slow. When you see something like Argo going upwind, you know, you look at it and go, boy, that's going pretty fast, and it's going 16 knots. But it's very stable and very steady. Okay, Columbia is coming by the start boat with 3, 2, 1, start. We're away.
That was the start for classes 1 and 2. The start for classes 1 and 2.
So we're sorry for back there. We thought we lost some cell service and lost everybody there. If you're looking at right now, you're looking at the Spirit of Bermuda. They just started. This is class 1. They're leading the way of the 635-mile race down to Bermuda. And next up, we're into class 2. And class 2 is our multi-hulls and 11th hour racing in the open class. So the only other start that we have 2 classes together. Many of you out there might be familiar with 11th hour racing. They are in the next bid for the 2022-2023 ocean race.
The ocean race.
And having participated in Charlie Enright has been in 2, the skipper of this boat has been in 2 other Volvo ocean races as Team Medica and Vestas 11th hour racing. And now they're here with the newer boat, the IMOCA 60. Okay, if you're just joining us, my name is Kate Summers, and I am joined by Joe Cooper. We're here on the starting line of the 52nd Newport to Bermuda race. We appreciate you guys bearing with us as we kind of get started and find our footing here in the first class. We have 17 starts ahead of us, or 16 now. The first start has already happened. Columbia and the Spirit of Bermuda are on their way to Bermuda. And now we're in start 2 with 11th hour racing. The multi-hull Mod 70 Argo, and who's our other trimaran?
Group, let's see, Ultime Emotion 2.
Yes. And
my French is not so good.
Yes, there's our friends from France. They launched that trimaran launched in 2012, and it's based off an Orma 60 trimaran with a 20-foot extension.
Right.
So these guys are coming in here. We're just, okay, so now you guys are looking at the starting line there.
Charlie's being pretty steady on this.
He's
just kind of...
I think we're just...
Don't break the new toy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, you know, with a distance race, there's no reason, especially the only one in the class.
Right.
But what are these guys, you think, going for? I mean, our forecast, I think, we've heard is going to be one of the breezier ones we've had.
Yep.
And we have some of the faster boats we've ever had. So look for these boats to be breaking some records.
Yes. Either one of these tries could make Comanche's 34-hour trip look like they were dragging their feet. And if the conditions, the angles, the breeze angles are right, Charlie Enright and the boys and girls could be right behind them.
So right there, we're looking at Argo. Argo, Jason Carroll is the skipper. The 2018 race was actually the first race that multi-hulls were in the Newport to Bermuda race, and he did it with his gunboat, and so therefore he is the current record holder. But since then, he has upgraded to this foil-assisted Mod 70, and he has broken 7 either race or world records since then. And given the forecast, and their navigator Chad Corning is predicting maybe close to a 22 or 23 hour race for them.
Oh,
so they're going to beat most of the race organizers who've been up here in Newport down there faster than the plane, probably.
I was
some
just
people say.
thinking it'd take about 24 hours to get to.
So, so look for them. They're coming around now for the starting line here. They're taking a little bit different approach. The other trimaran is just behind us.
So they're 4:45, 44, 43.
Yeah, 4 minutes. They're pretty close to the line.
Argos, so they're setting up very close to the line, and they're on port tack.
Yeah.
Now,
They're definitely going to have to come around
you
again.
know,
Here
once
they
again, you can't second guess Johnny on the spot or Jason on the spot in this case. And they have a couple of very highly skilled multi-hull sailors with them. Silver medalist in Olympics in the Tornado, so he knows a little thing or two.
And,
4, 3,
oh,
2,
here we go.
1, mark.
There was another gun from the starting
It's
boat.
4 minutes.
4 minutes to
Oh,
go.
right. Okay, so they've got 4 minutes. So they're going to come and jibe around here, I would guess.
Yeah.
Preparatory skill signal for classes 3 and 4.
So we'd like to also recognize another one of our sponsors in this race, Goslings. Goslings is our one of our favorite sponsors, because
Yeah.
they will greet all of. They are based in Bermuda, and they will actually be greeting everybody with their famous dark and stormies when everyone arrives in Bermuda. They actually say that it was the Newport to Bermuda race that started to bring Goslings to other places in the world off of from Bermuda.
So we are at, let's see here, 3:20, 3:18 or so.
Yep. And just over our shoulders here is the trimaran. They're taking a different approach than Argo. They're just kind of stalling out there, waiting for their timed run, as the Vanderbilt approach, as you say.
Right.
So they're just kind of hanging out. Nobody has put their jibs out. They don't need to. It will just not help them. And then just after them is 11th Hour Racing is just over our shoulders here.
I just
And
rolled out a staysail.
they're doing the same thing. They just took out the staysail. Yeah, I actually was talking to Amory Ross the other day, who's one of the sailors on board. Amory was an onboard reporter before for Team Albumetica with them. Has been with Charlie for quite a few years, and he's now one of the sailors on board. And they also have it's Charlie and Justine. And then they're also joined by 2 guests, big wave surfer Ian Walsh, who him and Amo have actually done some sailing before, and also Elena Height. She's a big mountain snowboarder. So they've both been invited on as guests because 11th Hour Racing, as they prepare for the next around the world race, they've been training out of France, but a lot of the French sailors are focused more on solo and double-handed right now. So they're switching gears to
like
get.
2 minutes.
They're switching gears to get ready for the next race, which is going to have a 5-person crew. So they're learning how to sail with 5 people, which those boats weren't really designed for that many people.
Right. You have to. It's a little bit like being in a bar at last call. You have to be very careful how you walk around people down below, because all of the halyards and all of the controls are under the bubble of the cockpit. You access the cockpit, and it's like going into the back of a camper van. You open up a hatch and climb in down the back.
There we go. It looks like the French are starting to pick up some speed.
Oh, here we go.
We're just
So,
outside of 1 minute.
1:16 roughly by the Cooper clock. So they're coming
We
down.
actually do have a clock in the corner there for everybody
Do we?
at home to be able to see how
Right.
much time is.
Okay, cool.
So What are we? How are we
Charlie's
seeing them set up? Yeah, it looks like
Argo's
11th hours coming in.
twiddling their thumbs there a little bit. 55 I have. I'm probably a bit behind the curve. Okay, Ultima Motion is
Taking out their jib.
get the jib out. They're looking like they're going with a full-size J1. But again, they're going to know their boat.
Yeah, and Argo just behind them.
Yep. So Emotion's got to peel down a little bit.
Wow, look at them go.
Yes, when these things push down, they accelerate like there is no tomorrow. And they've got 23 roughly.
It's actually 13.
Is it?
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, okay. So
Well,
is it? So we're down to the
5, 4, 3, 2. And there's the gun.
Okay.
And here, so expect to, you can follow everybody as they start. The trackers are live on our website, the Blue Nose Yacht Sales YB tracker. It's embedded right on the BermudaRace.com website, or you can download the app on the YB tracker, and you can follow these guys along as they go to Bermuda. Pretty crazy to think that these guys could be drinking dark and stormy less than 24 hours from now, but we shall see. That's for the multi-hulls there, and then 11th hour racing. They have
their rib go across the front of the bus.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting starting thing. The Emotion guys were very, very slow in
There's
grinding.
the tracker. So this is what it would look like when you guys are at
Oh, yeah.
home. You can search for boats on the left-hand side. You can zoom in, and then you can also see what the weather is. So as you're seeing right there, there's definitely some wind offshore. That's what that darker red is showing us right now.
So the Emotion guys were very slow trimming on.
There we are with Argo, though.
Yeah,
Here.
well,
Going on
Argo's
it.
stretching out.
And yeah, there's
you know.
the other trimaran, so they're
Right, Motion couldn't cross them on port tack now. So Argo is the lead boat out of the bay, and Emotion is out over on the Castle Hill side, the Brenton Point side, and 11th hour racing is just sailing along. It looks very settled. One reef in the main and a staysail, and you know it's a long way to go.
Yeah, when I was talking to the team the other day, they were saying their goal is to hit the line, and hopefully they can clear R2, and then if they can't, they'll make 2 tacks. R2 being the red buoy that is just outside the bay here, that they just need to keep clear of to stay off of Breton Reef. And then from there, it's pretty much point to Bermuda, I think, is everybody's goal.
160 something, yeah.
Yeah, go to Bermuda. So,
Yeah.
so now as this goes, the end of one start is the beginning of the next, the warning for the next. So now we're on to Class 3, and we're into the double-handed fleet. Coop, I know you pretty much know everybody in this fleet. Tell us a little bit about your background with double-handed.
Well, I've been involved in promoting and operating in the single and double-handed environment for 30 years. 32 years now, since 1990. There's a lot of boats, I haven't counted recently, but there's about 20 boats in the double-handed class. Many of them are veterans of what's called the Bermuda 1-2, which is an off-year race. And it's a single-handed down to Bermuda from Newport. And then there's a few days to recover from your scooter injuries and during dark and stormies. And then it's a double-handed race back to Newport.
Yes.
And
so just while we're
bring
it back, we're going upwind right now with 11th hour.
Yep.
They've got their so they're a boat that can foil. Can you explain that for the crew, what that means with their outboards there? And
Right. So in the last few years, the proposition of foiling has become very much the front end of high-performance racing, and the idea is that the boats have a shaped device that runs through the hull. You can pull it up on one side when you don't need it, but when you deploy it to the leeward side, it lifts the boat out of the water. And you've probably all seen the YouTube footage of the French solo boats completely out of the water and sailing on about 15 or 18 inches fore and aft of one of these foils, and one of the rudders in the water, sort of just. And obviously having the displacement of the boat out of the water, all of the wetted surface and the weight of the boat up in the air, the boats can crack off some tremendous speeds. And you know, the front end of this, although it's been around for quite a while, the front end of this was very apparent in the AC-75 during the last America's Cup.
So that's essentially what they'll be doing. So that's sort of why they, you know, despite Comanche being in a 100-foot boat that was able to break the record in 34 hours is the standing one, this boat can basically, even though it's only 60 feet, basically fly on water and get down there.
Right,
so,
right.
So now coming back to the next start.
Back down here on Earth.
Back down here, the double-handed boats. So double-handed, how does that sort of work as they go offshore?
Well, that's a very interesting proposition. The double-handed boats, to my mind, and this is one of the things that's attractive, is that they need to really have a high level of seamanship, which is really looking ahead. It's really using your Jedi skills to anticipate much more aggressively than the crude boats what's going to happen next. And part of the reason being, when you're on a boat with only 2 people and something happens, you have a much bigger problem than if you're on a boat with 10 people and something happens. You've got, you know, 8 or 9 people to fix it. With only 2 people, you have to be really careful about what's going on. And a lot of the double-handed sailing around here in New England is, once again, friends and family sailing. It's a little bit of a run what you brung kind of proposition. So the only boat in the six,
so
what do we got?
We're coming down to 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay.
For class 5.
Okay.
So in this class,
so we have one of the purpose-built boats is a class 40, which is a French-designed, you know, conceptual boat that's like a baby Imoca. It's 40 feet long. It's a little bit more subdued, and it's
which boat is that?
So that's Tim Kent on Kent Racing.
But he's in the next class. So
is
in
he?
class, yeah.
Oh.
So in class 5.
Thank you, Kate.
No problem. We have Relentless.
Okay.
Patrick McFadden.
Yep.
And Dauntless.
Yep.
Matthew Brewer.
Okay. So
Yep.
And so Relentless is a classic example of, you know, a normal boat. It's a I think it's a Bavaria 43, and
I just want to mention that this shout out to this one too,
oh,
Safe Harbors.
Safe Harbors, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's great.
Right. Been very involved in supporting racing around here.
Yeah. They're also the Newport shipyard, which hosted our shipyard party the other night.
Oh,
but,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So we also have Reveille, James Hammett, Yankee Girl, Thomas Vanderslam, Thora, Vince Todd, Selkie, the first Selkie. We've got a couple other boats here, all with the same
same name. We've got
name.
about 6 or 8.
Yeah, that's actually Selkie you're looking at right now. G.V. Bradish, Chip, I believe, and Roust, Ian, Gumtrid is also in this class.
The Thora you just mentioned, 759.
Yeah, they're sailing right into our picture right now.
Right, so that's an interesting boat. That's a father-son duo.
Emmett, right? That's
yes, Emmett Todd. He's in his 20s, out of college a couple of years. They did this race double-handed in 18, and Vince has done it double-handed a few years before on a 50-foot contemporary schooner. It was a schooner rig, but it had a, 1990s hull and deck and underbody.
So we're just under 2 minutes now to the start of this one.
And so Relentless and Jim Hammett. Jim Hammett actually won the Bermuda 1-2 last year. So he's got some miles on it. He's he's run around this track before, and he's a pretty skilled, very steady sailor, and there's a very good chance with his boat and his collective skills that he could be in the hunt again, on the podium, as they say. And
it's also, I should mention, they're actually considered the little harbor. It's It's actually considered one of the classic boats. It's a
Ah.
modern classic.
Oh, yes,
And,
yes.
So there's a couple actually of these older vintage generations coming
Right.
in. So that was just inside of.
The preparatory section inside of 1 minute.
Right.
I'm not sure if you guys are picking up on our microphone. Claire Harrington from the New York Yacht Club is the race committee chair, so she just announced that it's 1 minute to the start. And
Just coming back on the Little Harbour theme, that is a 1962 Ted Hood design, and the rumors around the Hood community, and I worked at Hood sailmakers for a long time, and the sail plans and all sorts of things. It was Ted Hood's answer to Finisterre, which had by 1960 had finished its third race of its trifecta, one of only two boats to have won 3 races in a row. And so Thora is a timber boat. She's a centerboard yawl, and if you put the 2 sail plans up on the wall.
61189.
we had an OCS there.
Oh man.
That was
who was that?
376119. Dauntless. Matthew brought the Sabre 42 over early in the so having to go back around the end of the pin there.
It looks like he's just ducking.
Or maybe he's going. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
it's
ducking.
not I
He
flag.
said
I think
I
he can
flag.
just duck.
Just duck. Yeah.
Right.
That yellow, if it's coming in your picture there. We're just going to try and turn here to bring you
What do we got
the
there?
scene. So we're turning around right now, so we'll just tell you what we're seeing here on the line. So we had that was
What do you got?
that was Matthew Brower, who was over early and is going back. And now everybody else, similar to the classes we've seen before, we're going to see a lot of boats start on starboard tack and then head out towards the distance here. It's pretty interesting to see what you're not able to see. We cannot see 10 minutes later. We can't see Argo or the other Moticon, and
We can still see the 2 schooners.
but we can see the schooners. So they have already been passed classes 1 and 2 by classes 3.
And it's
and
going to
4.
be a long
So
race.
Next stop, Bermuda for those guys.
Right.
But so now we just heard the warning. So class 5 is out. So that's the warning for class 6, which is also another double-handed
Right.
race.
Double-handed.
So in this class, we have
There's
we had 2 class 40s.
2 class 40s.
So that's Privateer and Kent Racing.
Yeah.
And these boats are being a little more aggressive than we saw those larger ones.
Yes. I mean, Tim Kent sort of comes from a racing background. He's circumnavigated in what started out life in the 80s as the BOC and has had a couple of names since then, and I think is now dormant, but it was a 4 or 5 leg stage race around the world. He built a boat in the 50-foot class and circumnavigated. He has his own class 40 now, Kent Racing. He's a family affair. He is sailing with his daughter, Alison, yeah, and she is quite an accomplished sailor in her own right. And then the other boat is a boat called, is that Privateer?
Privateer, yeah, that's the other class 40.
Yeah, so Privateer is the second class 40. That's owned by a chap out of Florida. And one of the other boats that's interesting in here and will be definitely worthwhile watching is there's a J105 called Young American, and that is one of the boats from the New York-based Young American Sailing Academy, whose principal mission is to recruit and train young, high school, young college sailors for offshore sailing. And the skipper of the boat is Peter Becker, and his crew is a young man named Adrian, who is just 18. And Young American has had some mods for offshore. It's a J105 with a square head mainsail, Hank on jibs, and it has been beefed up and is very suitable for the mission in front of them. And Becker actually won his class in the single-handed leg of the Bermuda 1-2 last year, and won the double-handed class coming back.
Okay. So right now, though, we're looking more at the spectator fleet. Thank you, everybody, for sort of bearing with us. We've actually got such a strong ebb tide out here that we're hopefully we're not making you seasick at home. So there's a press boat Foxtrot right here, but
My running tide might come through.
We're trying to switch around our cameras right now so that we can give you a better picture and hold our boat a little more steady. So we appreciate your patience here. So we'll just have to talk you through what we're bringing here. Or maybe you're sitting over at Castle Hill right now and you're looking out on the race course and you can see what we're sort of starting to talk about here.
Well, if you're at home, you're going to get a little bit of the rocky rolly that the folks on the boat are going to be getting.
Yeah. So now, what time we've got here? It's about 6 minutes to the start of Class 6. Class 6 is the last of our double-handed class, two double-handed boats, or two double-handed classes. And what kind of trophies do we have when they get to Bermuda, as far as between the divisions?
Oh, you've caught me aback there, Kate.
Well, so every class has their top
okay,
three.
all right. So every class gets a top three, and then there's classes, trophies for first to finish. There's one for the best boat with 4 family members on board, and there's several boats in contention for that award. I think there's a Navigator's Award.
I think if you actually go to the website under About This Race, I think I'm not quite sure how many awards we have.
There's a couple.
Over 100.
there's a stack of them for sure.
And that's because it's been the race, it's our 52nd race.
Right.
But it's run every 2 years. And the race has only not been run twice during World War II, it wasn't run, and then, of course, there was the 2020 race that didn't happen due to the pandemic.
COVIDized, right.
So I think this is one of the bigger fleets we've had in quite a while.
Right. So super yacht. This is interesting. Bjorn Johnson Castle Hill Trophy for the multi-hull division. Bjorn Johnson was a long-time volunteer and event chairman one time in the Bermuda race, passed away a few years ago. There's the Finisterre Trophy, correct time winner in the Finisterre class for which it's named. Gibbs Hill Trophy, corrected time winner Gibbs Hill. St. David's, corrected time winner St. David's.
Yeah.
There's a Cook's Prize, so.
Oh, so now we're able to bring you. We got some aerial visuals right now, so just trying to see what you guys are seeing at home. So on the starting line right now, can't actually see what we're looking at, but so in this division we have Privateer and Kent Racing, as we talked about. We also have Resolute, Scott Miller, Esplandia, Richard Hidone. Group 5, a Figure 02 Custom. Interesting about Group 5, they're actually also another youth sailing, they're NECA sailing, the New England Keelboat Association. And on board they have a student from the Webb University offshore team. I'm sorry, I don't have their name right in front of me right now, but they're another group that's also trying to get youth sailors on board some offshore boats. We also have Peter Becker from YASA.
Right.
And who's Peter sailing with?
Well, Peter's sailing with a young fellow named Adrian, and that's part of the YASA mission, which is, as I mentioned a little bit ago, to get young sailors in YASA's role as high school kids, to get them acclimated to sailing on keelboats. And for those of you with a decent memory, the YASA boat High Noon was very, very successful, won its class in 216 race, and was actually first to finish, although in the overall sense they finished behind Comanche, but they were the first.
So we're looking at the boats right now coming in.
What do you got there?
1 minute. 1 minute.
Oh,
to
okay.
go.
Yep. Okay.
We've even done some luffing on the line
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah. So these guys are getting closer and closer as they get in. Let me just see where the Becker is.
Yeah. Peter Becker's sail number is 146.
Yes.
And he also has a bow number, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
Also in this class is is Solstice, Mark Gervais with his wife Carol on their Hylas 46. Their sail number 61385. Funny enough, they were actually supposed to do this race as double-handed in 2020 and then have their wedding in Bermuda.
Oh, right.
And then that got canceled because of the pandemic. So they actually got married just a few weeks ago at New York Yacht Club. But they've been together for many, many years. They actually used to have a CNC 34, and that's what I have. And my husband and I have raced against them many times, but now they've upgraded, and now this is how they're
What do we got for
doing
time there, Del? I can't see that.
husband-wife. So here we go. We are 15 seconds within the start.
Okay.
Nice
so-
little start
Yeah.
to see
yeah.
a nice lineup here.
As we get into the bigger and more competitive classes, the starts are going to get more
Yeah, there's
vigorous, I think is the phrase.
that's Privateer with the orange at the top of the sail you're seeing.
Yep.
Kent Racing just behind him. So they already have a reef in their sails.
Yes. A lot of
one of them
these.
Is that because they're just double-handed, or is that their boat? you think?
Well, it's a little bit of both. The boats are very powerful, and this is certainly top-end wind speed for full sail. The other thing about the Class 40s is they can use their water ballast. They have big tanks in the sides of the boat. The boats are very wide to take advantage of it. So when they get going, they probably don't have it in now, but when they get lined up on the runway for, sorry, that's my starting signal.
And the blue boat, so that's Privateer all the way to your right. Ken Racing just behind him. So those are the Class 40s. Those are the fastest
Yeah, the
boats
squarehead mains.
in the fleet. The blue boat is Resolute. They're the ones just right in the center to the left of your screen right now. So these are these guys charging up wind. The big question now is, as you're looking at them, they need to avoid the reef there. So we might see a couple boats tack out. Looks like there's also in the far distance.
There's a laser, one of the Sail Newport laser coaching regattas.
Yes. But yes, so this is going to be what you're going to see now that we have more and more classes that are coming up. After this, we're transitioning off of the double-handed. So our double-handeds are off, our super yachts, our open division, our multi-hulls. So now we kind of get into more of the other classic classes. So next up is Finisterre class, which you mentioned Finisterre before. Finisterre won the race 3 times. And now there's actually a division in honor of that boat. And this used to be called the cruising class, but we don't call it the cruising class anymore because really it's still a lot of competition. So this class is brought to you by Axo Nobel, but that's unfortunately the wrong graphic that we have up there. But we'll give them. We're on to class where this is class 7. I think our graphics package might have gotten a little. We had a lot of switching up of the classes last minute there. So, but another one of our sponsors, Axo Nobel. They own
Interlux.
Interlux.
Yeah, it's
International.
it's very likely on the bottom of your boat.
Yes. So
Yeah.
in this, so this class is now, like as we were saying, the cruising used to be called the cruising division, but really it just means there's a couple more rules put on you about no pros and only a certain amount of sails you can use.
Right.
So it's more just to divide up the sort of the ways people approach sailing. So it's not necessarily cruising.
It's a cruising class in a race is a misnomer of a fairly large order, because I think we're all aware that the definition of a race is 2 boats within sight of each other. And of course a lot of these friends and family boats, as I think of them, come back and do this kind of as an annual thing. It's a little bit of a rite of passage. There's 2 or 3 boats out here who have now adult offspring sailing the boat that they grew up sailing on and going to Bermuda with their mum and dad, years ago, back in the day, as they say. And So it's a very, it's the very familial and your mates across the dock from you.
Yeah, my
kind
dad
of class.
actually did this race in 2016 with a Catalina 36, with just his old Navy buddies that they did it as his.
Well,
and,
that's
they they passed the. We can mention the. One of the things about the Bermuda race is not everybody can just go.
Oh yes,
There's a lot of
very,
steps you have to take.
right.
It's actually one of the most races with so many safety requirements, and that's to make sure that
very rigorous.
when
yes.
everybody's offshore, that everybody's safe. So all these boats have gone through rigorous safety inspections, safety at sea training, and those are all sort of organized and managed by our organizing committee. And we might even talk a little bit more about that later in the show. We've got some voices of those folks. So focusing on Class 7, so these are the slower, if you will, of this division. We're kind of going from slower boats to faster boats with each one of these. We'll have 3 Finisterre divisions before we get into St. David's, which is the biggest of our fleet here. So the type of boats we kind of have in this class is we have a Tartan 4600, a couple of Tartans actually, it's some 37s.
There's a couple of Hinckleys.
There's a Hinckleys.
The J40.
The Hinkley Bermuda 40, which is actually designed specifically for
Right.
this
What was
race.
your first clue?
Yeah, and a Swan 44, and so a Morris, and an Alden 48.
Tartan
So,
46. Yeah.
But if you're just joining us, I'm Kate Summers. This is Joe Cooper.
Hi there.
We're here off of Castle Hill, wallowing in the sea state that is here in the ebbing tide, but the sun has come out now for the start, which is amazing, and we're pretty excited to be out here bringing you some visuals and some commentary from the starting line, the Newport to Bermuda race is co-organized by the Cruising Club of America and the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club. But if you're hearing in the background right now, we also have the New York Yacht Club out here doing the race committee for the start. So that's 4 minutes to go for Class 7. And that's the bow of the race committee boat you're seeing there right now. Lots of flags being flown today.
The start is, of course, between the orange flag that's most prominent, if we can still see that, and there's what's called a yellow tetrahedron, which is a triangular-shaped inflatable mark, probably very well known to all of you sailors watching, racing sailors. That's over towards the Castle Hill shore, along the rocks just to the south of Castle Hill. There's a Coast Guard patrol boat going by it, a couple of 100 yards past it now. So to start, the boats have to pass between the blue committee boat and the yellow tetrahedron. And if they have the misfortune to be across the line,
Which you've already seen today.
right, in the third or fourth start, you have to return. That's what's called the OCS on the course
Seeing
side.
the waves there, look at the race committee boat getting tossed around to just sort of give you an idea of what we're sort of dealing with right now.
Right. So if you're OCS, you need to turn around and go back and start correctly.
So we're seeing a lot of boats here starting to line up. We've talked about this before, you know. In general, you'd see maybe more of a conservative start. It looks like we're seeing a lot of people pulling their jibs out over here and approaching in right there, coming in. So I'm trying to see what you guys are seeing, but
What have you got there? I can't see that.
yeah, we're looking at the race committee boat just north of them. 51703. That's restive. They'll just be coming into your picture now. That's restive right there. Restive is Robert McAlpine. That's an Alden 48 Custom. They're definitely trying to get their eyes on the line there. We have just 1 minute and 30 seconds to go.
So that's one of the prettier boats in the race for my mind, Kate.
Yeah, that is a beautiful boat. It's actually, I believe, it was sort of a cold molded wooden boat. And just behind them is, I don't know if I'm going to say this name right, but Shuang.
Oh, Sinn Féin.
Okay. By Joe Cummings, a Toshiba 40. That's the boat with the red. I'm not sure the answer said. There's.
No, hang on. Sinn Féin's a Cal 40.
Oh, sorry. That's.
Yeah. It's the same idea, but it's a Chinese name, I think.
Yes, I'm very sorry. And that was the warning. So we just have we're in side of 45 seconds now. Coming in behind that 61229. That's Pax, August 14. I believe he's sailing with a bunch of his friends, kind of doing this as a bucket list as well. And so we're looking down the starting line right now. You see everybody sort of jockeying for position. And then coming into, here we go, there's the Tartans right there and a Morris.
Red Tartan has done a couple of Bermuda 1-2s also. He's quite active in the shorthanded community, but
Murray Beach?
Yes. Obviously this year he's sailing with more than 2 people.
And then also, so just behind him, coming up, so there's the gun.
Oh, gosh. Oh. The guys on, is that restive out there?
I see an individual recall flag flying.
Yep. Oh,
1703.
1703, is it?
That's what I heard, but I don't see that number on the starting line. Must have heard that.
He, from where I was, he's a...
50173 is restive, that beautiful, beautiful boat we were talking about.
Yep, they just didn't quite get their timing.
It is an ebbing tide, as we were talking about. So
and
that means
building.
And it's building, as you're seeing us in the wave state out here.
Rocking and rolling.
So that means that the water is pushing everybody over the line. So if you have, if you're coming up too fast, it's basically like getting on one of those escalators in the airport. It just starts pushing you over the line. So we're watching these guys going upwind now.
Restive seems like they've restarted because they're back on track.
The individual recall flag has not gone down yet, though.
Oh,
so
that's...
You definitely want to be sure, though, that you've gone back, because that actually means you could go all the way to Bermuda
and carry a time penalty.
So how does that work? Are you disqualified, or do you carry a penalty?
No. If you don't go back and start correctly, the race rules say that you will have some amount of time added to your elapsed time. So it'll go from an hour and 20 to an hour and 30 minutes, and then that will, of course, change your corrected time, and that changes your placing. So, by and large, for these kinds of races, don't break the start, or if you do, make sure you go back and start cleanly, is a pretty sound rule.
So once again, Joe, we're looking at these boats going upwind.
Yeah.
They're hugging the Newport shore.
Castle Hill shore there.
Castle Hill shore, avoiding Breton Reef.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing how the boats that were, there's 10 minutes between classes, and as we are looking upwind ourselves, you're barely seeing boats on the horizon anymore. I mean, everybody is moving fast. This is going to be a fast race. What is the forecast looking like?
It's suggested that it's going to be pretty breezy. There's a front coming off the middle of the coast of Carolina, is sort of Virginia area, that's going to blow through tomorrow sometime, Saturday afternoon, evening, and that will be accompanied, last time I looked, which hasn't been for a day or so, by thunder squalls and showers and potentially lightning. And so the folks are going to have, maybe 24 hours to break themselves in. And then it's going to be a bit of a drill. And the breeze is forecast to go around to the northwest, which, if that happens, that's when the fast boats can put the turbos on. And that's when we're going to be looking at some serious high speeds from the multi-hulls and Charlie Enright, and there's another couple of big boats in here we haven't got to yet.
So if you're just joining us, we're here at now it's going to be the beginning of Class 8. We just saw Class 7 start.
This is Kate Wilson, and I'm Joe Cooper.
And I'm Joe Cooper. No, I'm Kate Summers. I have gotten married. That's right.
But we're talking to sailors.
Most people out there who know me probably know me as Kate Wilson, but I did get married recently. But So we're here at the beginning of Class 8. There are 19 classes, but 17 starts. And this is brought to you by North Sails, is the sponsor of this this start. We always want to. They've been a long-time partner of the Bermuda race, and many sailors out here have North Sails.
There's a few North Sails personnel sprinkled around the fleet too.
As well. So now switching gears now to Class 8. This is our second Finisterre division. We are just underneath 6 minutes. There are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 boats in this class. So this is definitely going to be the biggest class we've seen so far. Also, there's a couple swans in this class. Swan 53 Starbuck and Swan 55 Harlem. Hank Whisker.
Oh, that's full of Newport sailing mafia.
Yeah. Well, Hank himself is originally from the Netherlands, but
Right.
he's been a long-time transport here.
Right. As is his navigator, I think, Stephen Nordzi.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes, also a fellow Dutchman.
Yep.
But so a lot of the boats are setting up just to the west side of the starting line, as we've been talking about.
Stare.
And they pretty
So
much start to roll out their jibs now and make their way to the starting line.
Now, okay, just check me on this, but I think this is the class that has running tide in it. Does that comport with your?
No, running tide is our next class.
Is it?
Yeah.
So
this class we have Starbuck, Breezing Up, Liberty Call, Masquerade,
no, okay, here we go.
Harlem,
Yep.
Chesser,
Okay. All right.
Capella,
Yep.
Wassail, Tiger, Wishbone, Ballywick, Momentum, Legacy 5, Inisharan, and Etoile, which is actually one of our female skippers, Ann Colker.
Kate's not doing this from memory.
Got them all down. But Inisharan, who's also in this class, was actually with Kent Racing, was actually involved in a collision during the Block Island race, which was a warm-up for this. And unfortunately, there was significant damage to both, but both of them have been working hard with their boat yards and whatnot and have gotten repaired enough to come back out in this race. So it kind of shows, I mean, I think the anticipation for this has been building for a couple of years.
Right. Well, Tim called me up.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Tim Kent called me up, last week, middle of the week, early the week before, on a couple of things, and I was asking him how it was going with the boat, and he said, well, we're getting there. When I bought the boat, there was a spare bowsprit in the container, and I thought to myself at the time, why on earth would I need a spare bowsprit? And he said, and I laughed, and he said, well, I bet you like that idea now. And he said, yes. So the first thing I did when I got to the beach was go to the container and get the spare bowsprit. So he's back in harness. That was a pretty good effort. And he's sailing with his daughter. So that's some serious father-daughter dance.
And Inisharan here also got some major repairs done, and they were able to get back out here, which is amazing. So we're now just about 2.5 minutes into the start. We're once again seeing everybody setting up over here to basically our port side.
Right.
We're seeing people furling out their jibs now.
Western side of the starting line.
And then we're just, so they should be passing by our port side here shortly.
The starting format folks are taking is kind of interesting. They're all setting up over by the Jamestown shore, quite a ways away. They're on the other side of the press alley in the available open channel for the traffic. Coast Guard has basically closed down the entrance to Narragansett Bay. But everybody is setting up course side of the starting line and then reaching in to the boat end. And that strikes me as a little odd given the current ebbing at such a rate. But, as always, you can't contradict the guys that are there.
So 2 minutes now.
2 minutes, yeah, okay. So the bulk of this class, this is the bigger, the longer LOA class, length overall class of Finisterre. So that sounds like it's 4 minutes?
That's actually 1 minute.
1 minute?
Sorry. Yeah, that's why we're seeing everybody get it.
Right. Don't go to the start without your watch, folks.
They actually are working off of GPS time.
GPS time.
So it's always nice. So if you look at your clock and you see it's 1 minute to 2, then you know it's about 1 minute till this next start.
If you have a GPS watch, which, you know. So what do we got here? The number 75 boat's an X boat, I think. 60 something 75. What is he now? Oh. Nope.
Okay, so if you're looking at the starting line right now, we are seeing, let me see, I'm trying to pull up the sail numbers to the, all the way down on the end there. Oh, there's the gun. That's Ballywick all the way down at the pin. The blue boat with the mizzen, the smaller mast on the back, that's 60427. That's Legacy 5, Michael Wiseman. That's an Alden 54 catch. We have another over early, 60614. That's Wassail, Nick Oram with his Naiad 440, the post captain of the North American Station, which is another smaller cruising club around here. He's doing the race. He's an avid cruiser, but unfortunately also over early. So like we said before, we have a very strong ebb tide, and so we're seeing there's our third over early. So imagine when we start getting to these super competitive classes. I wonder what's gonna come. So as we're going,
there's an interesting trade-off with that, because the more competitive and the more higher performance classes of boats tend to have the higher skill level, and to a large degree a lot of them have professional sailors, and so the mental mechanics and the display of the gathering and display of information for what you need to do to hit the line at the start on time is pretty superior. And there's all sorts of electronic gadgetry you can use to identify where you are relative to the starting line and your speed to the starting line, how long it's going to take you to get there, all sorts of information. And that comes at the cost of some pretty expensive electronic systems, which, you know, in a lot of ways for the friends and family programs, it just really doesn't deliver the value that they need if they're only doing 3 or 4 races a year, which is not uncommon.
But look at that. That's our 15 boats in this class. So one of our bigger classes, and now we'll be rolling into another pretty big class, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 boats in this one, including Running Tide, which we'll definitely try to find a picture for you of that boat. It's a beautiful navy blue hull. It's a S&S Custom 59. Bo
Van Meter
is the owner of that boat, but
the son of the guy who commissioned the boat.
Exactly, which is
back
most
in the day.
Some of the older folks out here might recognize the boat because it was a boat that won everything.
Yeah, it was the top dog in its day in the 70s.
Yeah.
And you know,
it then went to France.
Yes.
And to another owner, and then and
both found it and bought it back.
And bought it back, so it's on its third owner,
right.
But second in the family. And I guess a lot of the
like
guys,
2A.
a lot of the people sailing on board are actually some of the original crew. So right. I did run into a family friend, and he said that I think he might be in his 60s, and he said he was helping bring the age down. So I think there's, right. But I think that's a lot of experience on board that boat.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience. One of the guys on the boat is one of several, I think maybe half a dozen if I do the head count properly, guys that sailed in the 1980 America's Cup out here, sailing on Freedom And the guy on running tide actually was the bowman on Liberty in '83. So that's an event he's probably happy to just sort of pass on into the mists of time.
Yeah, if we're able to see it, their sail number is 4444, so that's an easy one to remember. It's a blue hull with a gray sail. Yep. I kind of see them down on the Jamestown shore. Like we said, most people are kind of keeping it conservative and rolling their sail out their last minute. Also in this class, this is the last of our Finisterre class. They are sort of the former cruising fleet, but by no means cruisers. They're just they're sailing under a couple different rules. I think your timer's going off there, Joe. We also have Prevail, a Trip 65, Luna, a Friendship 75, which is a beautiful boat as well, Defiance, a Swan 68, True, a J160, Howard Hutchison. He's done this race many times in this division. Andiamo, a Gunfleet 58, Sunflower, Mark Lenzi. He's actually our vice chairman for the Newport to Bermuda race. He helped us pretty much organize a lot of everything, but he took on the whole COVID testing thing, which obviously was another thing that got thrown in this race.
Mark Lenzi trivia. Mark is one of 3 former submarine commanders in this race.
Oh, yes.
Yes. The 2 others are on one of the 2 Alliance boats. There's about 4 or 5 boats that have pairs of boats that have the same name. There's 2 Alliances, and to make it worse, they're both J122s. J122s.
We'll talk about them when we get to the St. David's Lighthouse.
Right.
But also to mention, Mark will also be he will be the captain at the next for the 53rd Newport Bermuda race.
The event chairman, right?
Then we should give a shout out though to the event chairman right now of this race, Summers Kemp.
Hoorah!
He's on the race committee boat right now. It's been a lot of work to be able to get this race going.
Right.
COVID testing and protocols have definitely added a whole nother wrench to this. But every sailor out here had to test negative to be able to go to Bermuda. So unfortunately, there were some sailors who planned on going, and as of 24 hours ago, 48 hours ago, they're not.
Right.
But that's just because we need to keep, those are the rules of Bermuda, and we need to keep that island nation safe too.
Right.
So that's where we are now. And but now everybody, I'm sure, this is kind of the best part. You get to finally go offshore.
Right.
So we're just under 4 minutes now.
So Tide, as it was affectionately known, for giving the first part of its name, is a couple of 100 yards on the safe side, the down course side of the starting line. They're reaching back on port. I don't know if we can see them right at the moment, but
no, we're looking at the spectator fleet and some boats getting ready.
Oh,
here.
okay. All right. Okay.
But back on the starting line, they're starting to approach from the port side. Some boats are going up and down. Running Tide is right by the race committee boat right now. They now have their jib out.
Yeah.
Their bowman is ready to call the line, standing on the bow.
That's probably Scotty Vogel.
Oh, as the youngest, the youngest guy is up on the bow.
The bowman's probably 62.
But, you know, like we said, lots of experience on board. Yep. And especially because, again, this is the Finisterre division. You know, it's not just the cruising division. There's some other rules. But I think people sometimes take a different, maybe, mental approach to you know, they're going out with their buddies, their families, their friends.
Right.
It's not about, you know. But I believe it still is cutthroat, though. Everybody wants that trophy at the end.
Well, you know what it's like. You see a scene, you're going up the bay, and you see a CNC 36 on your hip sort of sliding by you. You're like, we're not going to let him go by us.
Exactly. So there in the...
You got to love sailboat racing.
315.
That's 315's Carina?
Yes.
Speaking of classic old boats.
Yes, but we'll talk about them when we get to the...
Right, there are another couple of starts down the track.
So there we go, is 75001. That is Luna, the Friendship 75 there on the left side of your screen. So now we are within 2 minutes to the start. and
so the time it takes a start to disappear is dramatically different now than it was when the fast boats took off. Those two tries disappeared very, very quickly. It's probably a little bit less hazy now too, but
you switch after the start. Yeah. So we're within 30 seconds of the start. So that's one of our press boats that you've been looking at here. We've got a big group lining up at the start.
Right. So one of the boats in this class.
There we go. Is that running tide there? No, 3815. That is. Is that split decision? Sorry. Oh.
Yeah.
I've actually lost picture here myself, so I can't actually. There we go. We're looking at me. Hi.
We'll just make it up.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, I am Kate Summers. This is Joe Cooper. We're here from the starting line, and we're at the start of Class 9 right now, the last of our Finisterre class. We did not see an over early this one, which is the first in a while, which is good. These guys
are, the guys on running tide, there's a lot of racing miles, for instance, on that boat. And as that kind of experience suggests, they have a pretty good start. They're on the front row of the line. They have a little reef roll up around on their jib. The boat looks settled. The crew's all out hiking. The boat looks very stable, very settled down, very in the groove. And that's, if you know your ancient history of sailboat racing from the 70s, that will not be a surprise, because there's a lot of very.
Yeah, they're all the way on the right-hand side of your screen right now.
Right, just this dark one.
Pan to the right a little bit, right. You'll be able to see them going up, and just in the background of them is Prevail. That's all the way on the right-hand side of your screen.
Purpley one.
Trip 65.
Right.
And then in the middle of the course right now, we look like we have a boat having a little bit of a sail problem. Whoa, big waves here.
That's not the good luck.
4-1.
It's 6 something, 7 something.
It's a 9-0. Andiamo, a Gunfleet 58, clearly having a jib problem right now. Yeah. Not a good time to have a jib problem right off the line.
No.
But they were just passed themselves by the dark-hulled boat right there. Red sail numbers on gray is very hard for us out here to see.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, help us out with their sail numbers.
Right. Well, they're supposed to be contrasting colors.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us now, we just saw that we're looking at the last of the Finisterre class is now off. We're now going to switch to the St. David's Lighthouse. And with that, I'm actually going to pass off some commentating and take a little break here. And I'm going to introduce John Burnham. He's going to come on in here. I'll be back in a little while with you guys, folks. And I'll leave it to these two fine men to bring you into the St. David's class, Lighthouse class.
Hurry back, darling. John, g'day, mate. It takes a second to get settled here with the old boat rocking and rolling. It's actually turning into an okay kind of day to go sailboat racing. I'll have to wait till you get your cans on before you can say anything, right?
Okay, am I here now?
Yeah, I think we're here. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good. And, John Burnham joining me, Joe Cooper, at the start of the, 52nd Newport to Bermuda race?
That's right. And the action has picked up. I know when we first came out here, there were only a couple boats starting at the beginning, and in the multi-hulls and the super yachts and the open class. and everyone else kind of huddled in, I noticed,
Right.
in the calmer water. But now with the other classes starting, the activity's really picked up out here.
Yep, and the sun coming out, the weather clearing a little bit. I think all the folks in the harbour on their spectator boats who were hedging their bets finally thought, what the heck, let's go. And so there's a few more spectator boats lining up to the north of the starting area, and to either side there's segregated zones, the bleachers, if you will, for spectator boats.
So I think there's a boat about to go behind us here.
What was that then? Oh, that is one of the classic old yawls. Who is that then? Oh dear.
Earlier we had Columbia go by us.
Abigail.
Abigail.
That looks.
Abigail is Jesse Terry's boat, I think.
Okay. Now I'm going to say. No?
Go ahead.
I'm going to say before I look that Phil Rhodes' boat. Now I'm going to go look.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. Well, we had a story about it on the BermudaRace.com website.
I didn't read that.
I'm sure you read it. But Jesse has put a lot of time and energy into
it looks exactly
putting
that.
boat together.
Yeah.
Well, it's the breeze is hasn't picked up. It's as we say, the waves are bigger than the wind right now. There's a fair amount of wind.
Yeah.
Maybe 16 knots.
Yes, 16, puff 18. Yeah.
But the ebb current is just setting the waves up pretty dramatically.
Right. The seaway's a bit bumpy.
So it's tossing us around. It's getting the sailors are having to be a little careful out here. So, Joe, what is the training that goes into getting a crew ready for a race like this?
Right. Well, it's substantial. The club has a group they call the ambassadors, which are past sailors, skilled and experienced offshore sailors, people that have done this race. And there is a pretty comprehensive list of things that potential skippers must be able to demonstrate skills in, and a decent number of their crew, their watch captains, and there are safety at sea skills that a minimum 1/3 of the crew, numbers of crew, must undertake, and that covers things like how to use flares. There's a repairs at sea kind of section. There is a section on man overboard theory, and there's also a practical section where you go out and you toss usually a fender in the water, and the crew has to be able to go back and recover it. Looks like we're going upwind here a little bit.
So how long does it take to prepare for this race? And I'll just mention we've got a little under 3 minutes.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I don't think it's a stretch to say that when the boats come back from Bermuda now, they'll take a day or two off and they'll do some other races, and there's some guys that will have the new notepad out and they'll have the 2024 post-it note up on the whiteboard, and they'll start ticking over on preparing for the next race. September.
Give us the best.
There's folks come in. I did this in the '98 race. A boat came in April, and I was engaged to help get it put together, Swan 68, and we did. But that was full on the whole time. And that is absolutely not the right way to do it. We did it because we had good guys, but. Hey, don't get me wet. Jeez. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of checklists. There's a lot of drills. There's a lot of onboard activities that the boats and skippers and crews need to do. The man overboard drills. You need to be able to demonstrate that you have a trysail and storm sails. And there's a lot of equipment that needs to go on the boat. You need to be able to demonstrate that you can steer the boat without a rudder, And there's actually a very good video that was made about that. That's on the CCA website or the Bermuda website, maybe.
I'm gonna cut in here.
Yeah,
Joe,
go for
because, we've got.
Oh yeah,
we're
another
coming
start.
Up to the next start.
Gee, sailboat race. Okay.
Yeah. So this is, I believe, the first St. David's Lighthouse Division.
I think
class.
that is true.
And I'm just gonna pull out my notes here.
Yep.
But, looks like Jesse's yawl is leading the way in.
Yes, yes. Well, you know, just because you have a wooden boat that has a bit of maturity to it doesn't mean you can't put it in a good place to get a good start. And when you have guys like Stan Honey in your class, and I don't know what the picture is at the moment, but Stan Honey is in a boat with a goldish sail. It's a Cal 40 that he and his wife Sally have been very, very successful in over the years. And where is he? He is coming in pretty hard on the breeze, and there's going to be somebody who's going to want to not go into that corner.
There's a green boat, green Cal 40 called Nicole that was second in St. David's last time around.
All right.
They've got I don't think they just got. There's a white one. I think that's Illusion.
It's behind the black one. Right. 1781. The Honeys are just poking out now, with, not surprisingly for a guy with Stan Honey's background and Sally and the guys on the boat, frankly, experience and sailing history. You know, I think you'd have to say they're the boat to beat in that class. Not many, you know, a 40-foot boat. I think they have only 5 people on the boat. 6
yeah,
people.
But one of them is one of the other top Cal 40 owners on the West Coast. Another one is a former Star World Champion and National Sailing Hall of Famer.
Right.
Carl Buchan.
Carl Buchan, right.
So and there's a third Cal 40 in the race too. That is called Towie, Paul Jennings' boat.
Yeah, okay.
It's from Connecticut.
Okay.
And he's done 7 Bermuda races. And
Okay.
This is his first as an owner.
Yeah,
so,
all right.
It's interesting, Joe. Do you see a little
Oh.
atmospheric coming in?
Yeah, yep. Somebody turned on the smoke machine over there on Saconnet River. Before they disappear into the darkness. Before they disappear into the fog, Stan Honey and Illusion and Sally Honey have really punched out quite dramatically, and they would be leading the fleet, leading their class out of the narrows here and onto the main part of the dragway.
Dead.
This is this is going to get interesting.
So hopefully the press boats in the press alley here can avoid each other. The fog is, we're starting to lose the Jamestown shore.
Yeah.
The fans at Castle Hill Inn.
Right.
We can't see. Yeah. So my family happens to be over at Castle Hill right now.
Okay. All right.
Spectating, and they've just lost the view of the race.
Well, you know, they can fire up the laptop and watch us on BermudaRace.com.
And I think, you know, there are other diversions when you're
at Castle Hill. Yes.
Yeah, Castle Hill's
right.
is one of our many sponsors in this race.
Right.
Who've, come together to help relaunch the race after the COVID period.
Right.
It's been excellent.
Well, Castle Hill is, of course, I think a fixture of Newport is not too big a phrase. And I can remember a long time ago in a galaxy far away, we'd be sailing in after, in a 12-meter Australia, sailing in from practice or a race or something on a nice sunny day. And we'd have the kite up in this kind of breeze, and we could run in along the rocks at Castle Hill. Mm-hmm. And the shoreline there, the hydrography allows, you know, it's about 90 feet deep right off the rocks. And we would sail almost to paint scraping distance off the rocks with the business end of the kite pole over the rocks and across the top of the heads of the people sitting on the rocks. And maybe that's a little extreme, but we were very close, and they seriously enjoyed it. We made a lot of friends doing that.
Well, for people in the Adirondack chairs there,
Right.
it's pretty spectacular.
It is, yes. I have been up there on a number of occasions, and you know, I mean, Castle Hill's pretty good. You know, when nothing's going on, and you stick in one of the, what I think, 5 of the world's great ocean races starting. Castle Hill's a pretty good place to watch it from. What have we got here now for start, John?
So we're moving to the second St. David's Lighthouse class, which is...
What's that, 16? No.
I
No.
believe it's number... Let's see, the far 40s must have been in 11, so we must be on to 12 now.
12. 11. Do we think?
The number of the class is...
Yeah, we're one start after running tide, so let me work backwards from that.
Now, running tide was in the Finisterre class, and then we've had the first of the SDL classes.
Right, so
we must be at 11.
okay.
So this has...
Yeah, Illusion was in 10, okay.
Kirawan, Kirawan is the 1936 winner of this race. It's been restored by Dan Lemangi, or by owner Dan Lemangi.
Yeah.
It's in the race. It's a Rhodes 52.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know that boat. Yes. Yes. There's you know, 2 or 3 of those styles of boats in the race.
Number 10.
And 10 had Illusion in it, so maybe we're in 11.
All right.
But take 2.
Let me just check the starting order, Joe, because without that, and the way the fog has come in here.
Don't tell me you can't see the paper in front.
So we're coming up to the start of Class 11.
Class 11, here we go. So that's still St. David's. Kavala, Kirawan, Lanessa, Marionette, Misty, Morgan of Marietta, Pinnacle Tactile, Temptress, Jay Gal, Local Hero, Chris Dragon, Cookie Monster. So we're getting up into the larger size of the pretty normal production boats. Sort of the family cruiser racer, a little bit more performance oriented, but still with some creature comforts in the doors on the head, for instance.
Yeah, so Joe, tell us about the rules in the St. David's division. It's the most popular division, and with over 100 boats racing in it.
Yeah, so
what does it makes it different from some of the other classes?
Well, I think it's popular, it's family and friends, and I think the way the rules are set up is to try and stop it becoming this arms race. So I think you can have pros on it, but they can't steer. You can have...
It's a limited number.
It's a limited number, okay. It's a percentage of the crew or something. And I think you can have one kite, asymmetrical kite, tacked on the center line. And there's a couple of other nuances in there. I don't think you...
No, that's the center line rule is Finisterre.
Finisterre.
You can have all your spinnakers.
Oh, okay.
I think the main thing is that amateurs, Corinthian sailors have to steer the boat.
Right,
And,
okay.
I just want to mention that probably the most famous boat in the race, the most successful boat in the race is in this class.
Right.
And it's Reeves Potts' boat. It's called Carina.
Right.
It's a McCurdy and Rhodes 46-footer that has won the race 4 times under 2 owners. Twice under Dick Nye and his son Richard, each won once.
And now
Reeves won it twice, about 10 and 12 years ago.
Right.
So he's back for another go at it. And why is it that this boat is so well suited for this race?
Well, I think it goes back to it sort of stems from one of the fundamentals of the birth of the cruising club, which is to develop sound seaworthy boats. And some people might look at a boat like Carina and go, boy, what a big old tub. And, you know, I'd rather have a class 40. But I think the performance versus its rating is very sound. And in the case of Carina, it's very well sailed. There's a very strong crew on board. Again, several family members, Reeves' sons. And it's...
So we're coming up to the start here.
Oh, what do we got here? What do you got? So where is the Reeves? Okay, so, well, the other thing is that, you know, Reeves is hunting here for a very, very aggressive start. Looks like he's got to peel off a little bit. Where is he?
Well, we'll find him.
Yeah,
Or
well,
we'll see him in Bermuda.
well, there is that.
It's the sun is trying to break through again.
Yeah, I still can't see Brenton Point
This
though.
class is on the line.
Yeah, what do they got? What's the time? Gun.
There's the gun. So we have. We've gotten about half of our. We've got more than half of our classes off.
Really? So we can't quite see where Reeves is from this angle of our photo boat, but the way he was lining up is one big card in the deck of the continued success of Carina under the Potts helm. Whoa!
Waves are still going.
Especially when we get sideways to them.
There were a couple of boats over early there.
Boats over early, yeah. OCS on the course
One of them
side.
was Leonessa. I see a couple boats going back.
Yeah. That's a Vauquier something there, I think.
So it's just kind of when you're over early and the current's going upwind.
Very.
It takes you a minute to turn around. It takes you 2 minutes to get back, and by the time you've restarted, you've spotted your competitors 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
May not seem like a big deal, but sometimes this race comes down to minutes. At the end.
Yeah. No, I did a speed analysis thing once for the Bermuda 1-2 guys about, okay, what's the difference between 7 knots and 7.1? And, you know, when you stretch it out over 70 or 80 or 90 hours and you break it down, it got their attention. I can't remember the numbers, but, you know, that extra tenth was worth every tenth. And, you know, 2 tenths or 3 tenths is, you know, ends up in 80 hours, ends up in, 45 minutes or something. So it's definitely worthwhile paying attention to your speed.
So, I want to give a shout out to another of our sponsors before the next division starts, which will be number 12, and we'll mention Team 1 Newport, which is a long-time purveyor of sailing gear and crew gear, particularly Newport.
Yep.
And they provide numerous high-performance brands, and right now on their website you can buy Newport Bermuda race gear. Team 1 is located on Thames Street near Wellington, and of course you can shop online, which most of us do when we want to avoid the traffic.
Yes, high summer traffic on Thames Street. I don't think so.
But Team 1 has supplied gear also to the Cruising Club of America in their club store program for many years.
Quite a while, right?
So we thank them for joining us and supporting the race and outfitting sailors for first 2 days of this race are the coldest, isn't that right?
Yep.
And how does that work?
Well, it's still, relatively speaking, early summer. The water has not had a chance to warm up with the sun moving overhead from the southern hemisphere. You know, the water out here is probably 60 degrees maybe, and so the sun goes down at night, the air temperature sort of starts to hover around the water temperature.
So what happens at night to the sailors?
What happens at night?
How do they feel?
Well,
they get cold, right?
If you're in front, you feel pretty good. But if you don't have the right gear, which you can, of course, get from Arthur and the Team 1 crew, which is, they know what they're talking about when they talk about gear for you. Whoops. You know, it's a base layer, it's a middle layer, it's a jacket.
Yeah.
It's
so then you hit the Gulf Stream.
You've got to peel it all off because the water's 83 degrees, so the air temperature's 83 degrees, and you're sailing along in your shorts and a t-shirt and your sea boots because you only want to have one pair of shoes. Keep the weight down.
Unless it's blowing hard and you're getting soaked, and then you want gear that can breathe.
Well, that's the thing, you know, it's pretty hard if you're doing a head sail change or something in the stream and the water's 80 degrees and the air temperature's 80 degrees and you're doing your 7-minute gym circuit on the bow changing head sails, you get pretty hot and sticky. It's actually not uncommon for, you know, I think I've done it, just go up and do a head sail change in your shorts because it's just, you know, you get just as wet inside anyway. But by and large, for the bulk of the race, you really want, and the sophistication of the foul weather gear in the last 10 years, certainly in the last 40 years, is night and day.
So the last few hundred miles, once you're through the Gulf Stream, usually pretty warm, right?
Yeah,
pretty
comfortable. You know, it's a little bit of that sort of balmy North Atlantic, Sargasso Sea kind of thing, unless the weather's doing something gnarly. But the standard 15 knots of southwest breeze, a little bit of west in it, you know, it's pretty nice. If there's no water on deck, if it's under about 12 to 15 knots of breeze and you're not close hauled but sort of cracked off a bit, it's very pleasant sailing. You know, it's what do they call it? Champagne sailing.
Champagne, yeah.
We're saying we start calling it dark and stormy sailing.
Nothing there. So we just had a 4-minute gun for the next class.
Oh, right. Back to the racing.
And if I'm keeping track correctly, this is class number 12.
12,
St.
okay.
David's Lighthouse.
Okay.
I'll just read you some of the names.
Yeah.
Bamboozler.
Yeah.
The
Veneto
first
40,
40.7, Robert Hoyt.
Yeah.
Blue Flash. It's a J105.
Yeah.
It's the second one we've seen going off.
That's the only one of two, right?
Warno.
Yeah.
The brand new Christopher Dragon, the 12th Christopher Dragon that Andrew Weiss has got going. It's a new boat from Italy.
Right, very competitive program over the years.
He's won almost every race he's been in the boat since he bought it.
Right.
This the beginning of the year. Cookie Monster, Stephen Hale, Salona 380, Flying Lady, Philip Dickey, Swan 46. Shall I keep going?
Yeah, the high note.
Jim Binch, Kahlua, he's the former Commodore of the Cruising Club of America.
Right, he's got a bit more room for himself now in the Dela. Remember, he used to do it in his Aphrodite 101?
Oh, so that was one of the smallest boats.
Oh, yeah, 10.1 meters. Yeah, it probably only just made it, the anchor roller.
So, let's see. High note, Gary Knackman, Baltic 51.
Right, that's going to be his first race in this boat. He previously had Bristol's or Little Harbour, sort of 45-ish size boats.
Okay, well, we wish him luck.
Yep.
Macintosh, Cartwright 44, Dirk Stegenga, David Dickerson and Marie, an X 4.0. I think that's a new boat for him.
Yeah.
It's his 14th Newport Bermuda race.
Okay, he's on track for the Gulfstream Club? What's it called?
The Gulfstream Society.
Gulfstream Society.
If you've done 5 races, you can apply on the website for a pin.
All right.
and you get a new pin for every 5 years. So 5, 10, 15, 20.
One more, he's up for
Several
3
people
pins. Right.
in the 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're getting set up for this next start now. The boats are starting to line up.
Yep. That little bit of fog's kind of eased off a little bit.
Yeah, we can see Castle Hill and
there we go.
Jamestown again.
Yeah, good. We're still in the Narrows. That's good. We know where we are.
Yeah. So there's a horn. That'll be 1 minute. What do you notice about the wind conditions? Anything change notably here?
Yeah, it really hasn't gone up or down. It's still pretty stable and steady in that sort of 15, 17 range, I think.
Right, there's Moondog. Moondog is
what's
Brian Abbott and James Wright, a CNC 115.
Right, yeah. And there's
Nice shot of them.
that other J105 is lining up to be pretty serious about their start. They have a lot more sail on than Peter Becker when they started in the double-handed class.
Well, you got to be more conservative, right?
Well, there is that, and you don't have the stability with 8 of your closest friends sitting on the rail.
That's right. So you're 93310. It's over early.
93310. Who is that?
I'll tell you 1 second.
That's looking like, just from where they are, that has to be the blue boat that's furthest out in front.
That is the Rover, Stephen Yang, Swan 44 Mark II. Well, he was a little patient. The current is getting about 1 boat per start. It's just sort of pushing him over.
Yeah. I tell you, there's nobody looking like they want to turn around and go back.
We're getting some nice shots here.
Well, okay, now this is interesting. There's I don't know if we have footage on it, but there's...
tell me about the colorful sail. We're looking at that. As a sailmaker, former sailmaker, what's that all about?
Well, at the hazard of dropping another sailmaker on top of our North Sail sponsor, that is a graphic that's very similar to the name of a boat in the TP52 class named for the sailmaker.
Oh.
I don't know why they have that.
We can say Quantum.
Quantum? Okay, so it looks like you bought it off the Quantum Racing sort of inventory of we don't need this anymore. I don't really know why it looks like that. It looks to me, shape-wise, it looks like a normal headsail.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything exotic.
Okay.
I can't think it's any kind of... We got a boat hard to port here, guys.
You're in the press box!
You tell him, Kate.
So, we're in the press alley, and the next class to start.
Right.
That would be Alliance. J122.
Right.
We have a funny story about Alliance. There are 2 J122s named Alliance.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably lining up for the next start.
Oh, I think they're going to have a serious duke out. And I think I mentioned this earlier on with when Mark Lenzi started as a submarine commander.
Yeah.
The other 2 submarine commanders are on Alliance. One of the owners, the Alliance has to do with the guy and his partner owning it.
Yeah.
It's Mary, I can't think of her last name. But Eric Irwin was a former submarine commander, and one of his crew members, another local, very keen guy, Bill Neller, drove a submarine.
So it's Eric Irwin and Mary Martin.
Mary Martin, yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a famous actress by that name? So what I was going with a minute ago was I have seen only 1 boat start and tack out to port. And everybody sort of seems like they're jamming to get to R2. R4 and NR2.
Well, is that a current? Because the current is so strong?
Yeah, I was thinking.
You would think that the current would be helping them over here, and they'd be out of it over there.
Right. I mean, if you want to get out of the current coming in, that's where you go. And
the current's going out.
Yeah, he's right in the middle. So that's, you know, where is he? He's set up nicely out in the middle of the channel there, sailing along quite nicely, and he's getting 1.5 knots of boost as he goes out.
That's this boat right here?
Yeah, and it's Portac, you know, the reefing.
Okay.
That's an X-boat of some sort.
Well, it was nice to have the sunshine and the fog dissipate for that start.
Right.
Maybe start number 13 is going to be even more interesting. This will be St. David's 13. I want to give a shout out to Barton and Gray Mariners Club, which is a sponsor. They've sponsored the 2018 race as well, and they run a fleet of mostly Hinkley's, I believe, power boats.
Yep.
That out of different locations around the country.
Yep.
And Newport Bermuda race is one of their club members' favorites to come out and watch.
Yep.
They also support the race organizers by providing the
check-in boat. Right. Right.
So we thank the Barton and Gray Mariners Club for helping everyone enjoy the day today out here. And it's certainly been variable, you know, for what seemed like a fairly steady southwest breeze. We've seen a lot of different atmospheric conditions.
Right, right.
So I think you talked about the weather before, and there's probably, you know, until the boats get to the Gulf Stream, or until the front overtakes them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're probably going to be in this southwester, right?
Yes, that's sort of generally the forecast. You know, high pressure across the front end of the race.
And will it be this rough, or will it be a little calmer when they get away from the coast?
It'll change. The wave pattern will change.
How come?
It's quite steep and robust here because of this proposition of the body of water moving into the wind. So the current's going one way and the wind's blowing over the top of it.
Yep.
And the extrapolation of that is the conditions in the Gulf Stream. When you have a hard nor'easter, a hard northerly breeze, you have the Gulf Stream going to the north and east at, you know, 1.5 to 4 knots, and then you can have, you know, nor'easter 25, 35, 45, 50 knots of wind going over it, and you get a situation like we're experiencing here, where the waves are close together and they're quite steep, the height from the trough to the peak, and they break. So when you get that kind of condition in the Gulf Stream, that's pretty hazardous. When you have the southwest condition, the wind is flowing with the current and there'll be wind-driven waves, but it's a lot less uncomfortable, a lot less hazardous, perilous, you know, a lot less bad.
So the wind against current is the challenge.
Yes.
When the wind goes against the current.
Right, right. And, you know, it's an extrapolation of what we're seeing here, and, you know, people watching. You know, we've been rocking and rolling out here, and you see the boats pitching and spearing out of the waves.
So when they get away from the coast a little bit, water will get a little bit deeper.
Right.
Although they're still on the continental shelf.
Yeah.
And so the waves will lengthen out some, even though they'll still be pretty big.
Right, right. And as they lengthen for the same height, the steepness of them diminishes.
Yeah.
And so you're not, you know, going over one wave and then dropping down into the trough and the next wave is right there. It's a lot more steady, cyclical. It's easier to steer over. Sure. It's less violent on the boat.
So our next class is...
what do you got there?
We're in a St. David's class.
Yep. 12.
Let me go back to my.
Cheat sheet.
It should be coming up on the. Should be coming up on class 12 right now.
2 minutes to class.
I've got it right.
13.
So the line is. Well, let's see if we can recognize a few boats here.
This is the class with a lot of J120s and 120s.
Okay.
This is 13.
So we've got. This is the class that
The Alliance
is in.
Right.
We got Amadeus and XP 438.
Yep.
First 45, divide by 0. Elbow room from the Great Lakes. They truck their boat out here. It's a J122.
Yeah.
There are there's a whole pack of J122s and J120s and J121s in this race.
Right.
3 different generations.
Yes.
40-foot J boats.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be a knife fight to beat the band.
we're
What do we got here?
we're going to zero in on the starting line here.
Okay. There's one of the 2 red boats, the one just coming up, if we can, watching that start. That's a perennial competitor, although he was being off, out of the sailing for quite a while. But he's just moved, he's retired and moved back here, and he's bought this 40-foot IMX boat, Resolute.
We may have had a couple boats over early.
Do we know who?
Who's coming back?
That's always the question. I don't see anybody making any noise about going back.
That looks like a beautiful start.
It does. Except it seems like a couple of boats were over.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Welcome back.
yeah, as I just got thrown into my seat here, tangled up in wires as well. Everybody at home, we definitely appreciate you guys hanging here with us. I know it hasn't always been the easiest to watch. Believe us, it's not as easy to be on the board out here on the boat right now. We are experiencing one of the stronger ebb tides of the season right now.
Full moon, yeah.
Yeah, and so we're out here struggling. And a big thing that's also happening is a lot of the boats are coming in because of the tide, maybe lining up for the boat and then ending up getting swept 2 knots out. So we have this press box that we've been hanging out in, and then the boats that are lining up to just hit the start might be just missing it. So we're seeing some boats kind of go around, and we're trying to stay out of the way of the competitors. So that's sort of why you sometimes see us spinning around to avoid boats that are sailing into our designated press box area here. And meanwhile, we've just had the thick fog come in, and so it's a bit hard to all of us to kind of keep our cookies and also our sense about what's kind of happening here. So once again, we appreciate it. Obviously, you can always go on to the Blue Nose Yellow Brick tracker that is live throughout the entire race. You probably have more information than we do right now as we're out here. I haven't looked at the tracker yet, but I'm guessing Argo is halfway to Bermuda. And
I'd say they're pretty close to finishing.
Yeah, dark and stormies are probably happening very soon. So to bring it back now, the time here is 2:52, which means we are 8 minutes out of the next start, which would be class 14. 7 minutes to go. And class 14, so we are within the St. David's Lighthouse here, another one of our bigger classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 boats in here. And this is the J class. All of them are J boats except for Slide Rule, which is a Beneteau 44.
Right.
So we've got a couple of J44s.
Yeah.
Chris Lewis on Kenai. Chris Lewis actually just won the New York Yacht Club annual regatta in the IC37 class.
Right.
And now he's out here. That was he was winning going into the last day, which he said he's lost that edge before. Was able to hold on to it. And this is now, he's hoping that third time was a try, and that this would also third time be a try, because he has never won the Bermuda race either, but he's got a good solid crew. H.L. DeVore is calling tactics for him.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's done a bunch of this.
And won it.
Yeah.
So
he's trying to take that IC37, take that bag and carry it on the race to Bermuda.
Into this class as well.
Yeah.
We also have another J44, June Kendrick with Plantier. That actually also has the Stork family. And June's also sailing with her family as well. So I talked to them, and they just sort of said that this was a family affair. So there's John Stork Jr., who's actually the senior, and John Stork the third, and Eric Stork. So it's a family affair on that boat as well.
Yep.
And they did very well at the Block Island race. We've also got Comet, another J44. That is the Coast Guard boat.
Oh. Comet or they have what?
Oh no, sorry, Glory. Comet is the. Oh, they're gonna get mad at me. That's Kings Point.
Oh boy.
Actually, the Block Island Race Week last year, it actually came down to a who beat who tiebreaker between Glory and KP at Block Island Race Week, and actually it was KP who edged them ahead. So I'm sure this is a rematch.
Right. Grudge match.
Thrash to the onion patch, as they say.
Right.
So. Right there, we're looking at. Sorry, I can't see the. We're spinning around here. But there's the race committee boat. Those guys are all holding on. Probably.
Oh man,
we've seen that boat get thrashed around.
Oh yeah. Well, they've been sideways to the waves the whole sequence, because the wind's blowing them one way and the current's got a hold of the bottom of the boat and is pushing them out. So for the maritime language inclined, that condition is known as tide road. Just, a little bit of trivia there.
So a couple other boats lining up here.
Yeah.
Oh, who's that we got there? Which gun was that? 512.
512 and 8.
Chaotic Flux, James Chen, another J120. This is another class full of a lot of J120s and J122s. Funny enough, the other J122 Alliance is in this class.
Right, I was just looking at that going, why are they not together?
It's a different J122. I can't. There's another model number attached to it.
Right.
And so I think it's a slightly. So these are, as we go, folks. These are getting to faster and faster boats.
Yes.
So you may notice the sails are getting darker. We're seeing
more expensive
racing. Sails from various sail companies, including our friends at North Sails, 3D Eyes. Yeah. So those are actually sails made of carbon, with carbon in them. So
right, there's a lot of these sails are carbon. Yeah. Right.
So that allows them to hold that shape. Why am I talking? Go ahead, Joe, the sailmaker.
Well, the upside, it's very strong and can be very light. The downside is you really don't want to flex it. And when I'm talking to the high school kids and the jibs are flapping, I tell them it's 50 cents a flap. And the guys with these things, I tell them it's $1 a flap.
So needless to say, you're seeing people pulling out their jibs now. They're coming in. How much more to the start do we have? About 3 minutes.
Right. And a lot of these guys are going to have forestay setups that are not roller furling. They're going to have. Oh, can we go to Castle Hill and have cocktails now? But there's still more races.
Yeah.
What the? Oh.
Oh, look at that. Everybody at Castle Hill, the crowds are out there.
Yeah.
Probably a little less seasick than some of the spectator fleet out here.
Like the race committee.
That's a pretty, that's a pretty beautiful place to sit and watch the races. You guys might have been also listening to us over there. I heard that they might be showing us some beautiful, showing the imagery.
Come on, girl, get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out. Just
How many star stops do we have?
I don't know. How many hours have we gone without sleep getting ready for this? There's
And who have we got there?
there's a boat in. We're in
Here we go.
15, yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's about 51218. That's who we saw before. Chaotic Flux.
Yep.
Coming at us. We're hard reverse right now because
Yep.
they are sailing in the press box, so we're trying to dodge them.
Right.
Keep them
There's
sailing clean.
I don't know if we see. Let me know if we see 52920. It's a bluish, sort of sky blue hull. That's another family and friends boat.
Definitely within 1 minute here of seeing them all coming into the starting line here.
So these guys are definitely on their game here. This is going to be one of the more aggressive starts.
Yep. I think we're just going to see them get more aggressive from here on out as we get into bigger and bigger boats. So it looks like, you know, the tide is definitely pushing them down on the line. Silesia here.
Yeah.
That's Mark Nannini, J120. I'm not sure he's going to, from our perspective here, it kind of looks
right.
like.
Somebody's don't be going in there, Mark.
Yeah, so we're looking at slide rule right now. Now there's 5244. Yeah, here we go. Just stay. Yeah, there's everybody's coming in.
744.
There we go. Yep. Definitely got some luffing up going on right there.
Yeah, gun.
And
somebody was kind enough to let Mark in there.
Yeah, I guess it's a long way to go. So.
Well. Yes.
Giant. Okay. So we're getting some questions from those out there, what we're experiencing out here as far as wind conditions. What would you say it is now, Joe?
It's certainly not building. It's 14, 15 and pretty steady. What I am noticing is over in the northwest here across Mackerel Cove and up into the northwest, there's quite a lot of dark grey clouds coming and sort of looking kind of, I think the technical phrase is snotty.
Yeah.
And this could be the front end of the business that they're going to see on the racetrack.
There's Kenai right there in your picture. Chris is actually, he's with the GBR sale numbers. He's actually originally from England, but now a native of Texas. So that's him with his J44. 2544 is Plantier, June, the other J44 just above. So they're all headed out there along the Newport shore. That's sort of the houses along Ocean Drive you're seeing in their background.
Right.
It's definitely getting a little darker out here.
Well, that's over here.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about. There's another boat that's coming.
42334, that's Glory. That's the Coasties right
Coasties.
there. Oh. And
what have we got with 12235? They seem to be late to the party, or are they setting up for the next class?
That's Summer Grace. They are a little later. But we might starting to see some of the class 15 now kind of. Who do we have coming sailing at us right now? Oh, 12004, that's in your picture right now. That's Dire Wolf. Dire Wolf with a space in their name. Constantine Barris. There's also another Dire Wolf out here.
No space.
No space.
No spaces.
There's Kenai there sailing through. If we just, there's the class coming upwind at us right now.
I don't know. What do we see?
We're seeing the class that's headed out right now along the shore from our aerials here.
Do we see 52920?
Yep, Blue Yonder tacking right there in front of us.
Okay, that's another family and friends boat.
Oh, yeah?
And that guy started sailing in 14.
Started sailing in 2014?
Yeah.
After seeing the Bermuda race?
He came up here. His business has him involved with guys like Hap Falth, and he came up to watch Hap take off in the Bermuda race. And he sat up on Castle Hill and he goes, wow, I really want to do this. And he's in the plane business, and so he's a pilot, and he got a hold of me and said, hey, can I do the Bermuda race? And I said, well, let's talk about that. And what's this, 8 years later, here he is. He's got
That's amazing.
Tricked out 122, and he's got, he's a lot of guys who work with him, his son, sailing with him. And
so if someone wanted to do the Bermuda race, did you and John talk about the ambassador program?
We didn't talk specifically about that. We sort of went off to the safety side, but the CCA has a program called the Ambassador Program, whereby if you get a hold of the Bermuda race folks and you want to do the race and your sailing experience and background and knowledge, is not really quite there, they will connect you with an ambassador who is, one of a couple of people who have a lot of miles, a lot of experience, a lot of Bermuda races, and they will guide you through the process.
My dad actually did the Bermuda race in 2016, and he employed used Dick Holiday is the coordinator to start with, and then it really helped him walk him through the inspection process and everything.
Right.
And there's a couple other boats out here that we know that have definitely been utilizing that program.
Right.
And it's a great way. So if you're interested and you're out there and you're getting inspired and not too seasick by these pictures, and you really want to sail to Bermuda and you're interested in it, start with the ambassador program. If you go to the website under About, you'll see your first Bermuda race, and there's lots of information of how to connect there. So now we're going to come back down to the starting line, and we are on to Class 15 of the St. David's Lighthouse.
The other thing you could do also is read about the Bermuda race in Sailing World and Cruising World.
Cruising Worlds, yes, another one of our...
Maybe sort of Sailing World a bit more for this one. But, they're pretty aggressive in covering this classic race.
They are. Actually, Dave Reed from Sailing World will be, you'll see him down in Bermuda, and he'll be interviewing a lot of these sailors and bringing you some interviews. So keep following along with the race, and you're starting with us, but you'll be finishing with Dave, actually. So
follow on your yellow brick tracker.
Yes, until we get there.
Download the app.
Yeah, it's also embedded right on BermudaRace.com.
Oh,
so
well,
here in this class, we actually have Blackwatch. Blackwatch is a former winner of the Block Island race, Bermuda race.
Probably the Block Island race.
Probably also won that. I was talking to the captain, Kyle, a couple weeks ago, and Kyle was saying, the Blackwatch was, if we find her in the pictures, she's a classic-looking yacht, sail number 71. Can't really miss her. She was the Maxi 72 for day.
Yeah.
She was designed to do the Bermuda race
by
Olin Stevens. And there's that would be the prep for Class 15.
The guys that do commentary, and the girls, for football and baseball and basketball, sitting up there in their air-conditioned box with a flat table.
Yeah, that's
You guys don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, not having to deal with quite the elements in the foul weather gear.
Right. What are we looking for? Blackwatch?
Blackwatch in Class 15. 84 years after her first Bermuda race, she's doing it again. She actually won her class in 2014, I believe. So she's one definitely to watch in this one.
And she does it pretty regularly. It's not a one and done.
Yeah, they actually have a group of owners. They have sort of an alliance syndicate where it's a bunch of people who sort of believe in the race, and they race it all all the time.
Yeah,
they'll be after this. They'll be headed up to Maine to go do all of the Camden and Classics.
Eggemogan Reach.
Reach. So,
sure.
There she is. There's the beautiful Blackwatch.
And if I'm not mistaken, they're really Corinthian original, and they use Hank-on headsails.
Yeah.
So for all of you people watching who are less than about 60, Hank-on headsails are sails that have little bronze, sometimes not so little, bronze clips with a little piston on them, and you clip it onto the stay. And if you just stop and think about that for a minute, trying to do a headsail change in the Gulf Stream in 18-foot seas at 2 in the morning when it's blowing 40, is a lot more entertainment.
So it looks like they're definitely already in their, I think they're in their final approach. They're luffing their sail right now. They're coming in. It's about inside of 3 minutes to the start for this race. But also in this division, obviously the pretty Blackwatch gets is turning the heads, but We also have Cecile Viking, Alchemy, Wasp. That's the Naval Academy.
The Naval Academy J122.
J133.
133.
Yes,
Right.
we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 J133s in this class. So this is the battle of the J133s.
Well,
out there.
I looked up the head count the other day in preparation for this, and pretty close to 33% of the fleet are products from the J-Boat Company.
J-Boat, not a sponsor of this race, but
Yeah.
maybe next time.
Jeff? Jeff, come on now. Maybe they don't need sponsors.
Probably not when we have to say the word
They're like, we
J-Boat
can't
every
build
time.
them fast enough.
Yes, but yeah. Also in this class, we have a couple other J133s, like we said, Blue Jay, Vamoose, Rhiannon, Fast Company, Matador. We have our Canadian friends, Bella J. They've brought the boat down from the
North of the border?
North of the border, I believe Nova Scotia is where they are from.
Oh, that's easy sail.
Yeah, the other Dire Wolf, which is
No space Dire?
No space Dire Wolf is also in this. And challenge accepted. Michael Cummins, he actually was really excited to do it in 2020. He was doing it in honor of one of his friends who had died from lung cancer, who had never smoked a cigarette in his life, and he did an Ironman that year, and also wanted to do this race. But they're back. And they actually have, unfortunately you're not be able to see Spinnakers today, but they actually on their Spinnaker have a logo in honor of him, of lung cancer. So pretty cool. He did it as an early gift for him.
Good for him.
Let's see. So
this Alchemy in here
So this is 1 minute, within 1 minute to the start here.
We have 2.
4, 3,
3, 2,
1. There we go. And this is the start of class 15. There they go.
So we don't quite have 2 alchemies. We have an alchemist.
And there's
an alchemy. Right.
The blue on your screen. There's our friends Bella J, the Canadian, right in front of your screen. Just behind them is 4506. That's the Dire Wolf with no space. And we have a couple other boats coming a little bit later, but you know, again, we're actually seeing pretty aggressive starts for a 635-mile distance race.
Well, you know.
But wow, look at that. There's everybody lined up fighting for that first.
Well, I'd be interested to see what happens when Kodiak and Aurora get alongside each other, because they're near sister ships.
We're only getting into bigger and bigger boats here
as we further go along,
and
right?
Definitely, I don't know, would you say, I think the wind's picking up just a little bit now. I think we're...
This very minute it is, it's kicking in, and it might have something to do with this cloud cover coming in here.
So just behind Joe and I right now, we've got a little
I don't know if you might be able to see. Can you see up on the screen
there? There you go. There's Wasp right there. Those are the Naval Academy.
Yep.
Right in the center of your picture there. Bella J, the Canadians.
Yep.
The blue boat just behind the bow there. But we're definitely seeing boats already putting a reef in. And Joe, you touched on this before, but why would we see boats already? Some boats are and some boats aren't. What makes someone make that decision?
Well, so it has to do with the stability of the boat, which means how hard it has to blow to tip it over, how much sail area the boat has when it's fully deployed, and the balance, the feel in the helm, how much pressure there is on the rudder. And what you need to do is balance the boat so that when you're steering, there's just a little bit of pressure on the rudder. And so if you come out, and then you'll see all of these boats setting up and sailing up the bay a bit to practice, when you come out and you have too much pressure on the rudder, then you have to do something. And invariably, either a smaller headsail or a reef in the mainsail is the standard drill.
And then way on the horizon for us, we're looking way back to the south now, to Bermuda. We're really just seeing, even 10 minutes between starts, boats are already doing horizon jobs, if they will. So it's going to be a quick race. If you're just joining us, I'm Kate Summers. This is Joe Cooper. We're out here with a few more. Class 15 is about to start, and then we go up to class 19. So just a couple more left. Thanks for bearing with us in these conditions out here.
A bit of math here, Kate. We're about 2 hours since the multi-hull started.
They've been going probably what?
20,
25 knots?
Between 20 to 25 knots. So they're somewhere between 40 and 50 miles away, which is putting them 3/4 of the way to the Boston-New York shipping channel.
That's already, yeah.
It's like
They're
gone.
a tenth of the race or something already behind them.
Right.
So again, I mean,
that bodes well for
their
record times. Yeah.
Yeah. The navigator of Argo, Chad Corning, was contemplating 22 hours yesterday with his models. So
boy, I hope he didn't tell any advertise that too much.
Yeah.
That's
but,
sure should have.
So this start, we just want to give another shout out to one of our sponsors, Sea Bags.
Yes.
Sea Bags, which take old sails and turn them into bags. And they want you to know that you can turn your sails into bags too. They have 40 stores where you can come and drop off your Dacron sails.
Dacron, yes.
Unfortunately, not these carbon sails that you're seeing right now.
Right, they don't. Yeah.
But you can drop them off, and they will give you a credit or they'll take your sail and turn it into something.
And they'll send you a bag.
Yeah, for the Newport Yacht Club junior sailing program, we had members actually donating bags, and we turned them into bags with the Newport Yacht Club
donating salesmen.
And then we sold them, and that created scholarships for kids at the program. So there's they do a bunch of great things. They had a sail drive down to Sail Newport during the registration and accepted a few sails. So, but it's not over. You can keep doing it, and so we just want to. That's pretty cool. And they're also our official sustainability partner, which we haven't even talked about how the race is trying to go for platinum status from Sailors for the Sea, and we've had every boat this year has a
environmental officer or crew member, right? Yep. And there was a beach cleanup here a couple of days ago along the foreshore at Fort Adams. And Fort Adams is where Sail Newport is, and Sail Newport is the race headquarters for this year, so it all tied in pretty nicely. And the 11th hour boat was moored at the end of one of the piers at Fort Adams, and they have a big instant building there that has running videos on the 11th hour program, not just the boat, but the bigger view of 11th hour and global ocean sustainability questions.
Yes. So we're now into class 16.
Yeah. So I want to kind of look at here. You brought your umbrella, right?
Oh, that was a big strike of lightning. Gotcha. So if you're just hearing that, I'm just having our director speak in our ear and also listening to the race committee. We just saw a strike of lightning. There is some big black clouds over there.
They're black.
They're black, not red. That's a red boat.
That's a red boat.
That's coming at us. There's the thunder.
Oh, thunder.
Wow.
Oh.
So we're hearing from the race committee that they're going to complete the next start, but they are considering delaying now because of this weather that is coming in.
Rolling in. It's coming in pretty hot.
It is coming in pretty quickly. So we have 4 minutes now till class 16. So in this class, we're getting into the bigger boats. We have Cougar, Lenny Sitar. He used to actually have a J44 Vamp. He did for many, many years.
He's a veteran competitor.
Former Commodore of the Storm Tri-Sail Club, also CCA member. Crazy Horse is a Baltic 50. Saphir, Andrew, with us Arcona 460. It's a new boat to him for this race, but if anybody who did this race was in touch with him, he is our entry chairman. He is the guy behind info@bermudarace.com. He answers all the questions. He does a lot. I'm sure he is very happy to see the other side of the starting line here.
He's out there.
Yeah. Polaris, Will Passiano, also another member of our organizing committee. He's the one who brought in all these wonderful sponsors.
There's another Bermudian entry just rolling across here behind.
Yes, Nasty Medicine.
Nasty Medicine.
Dr. Stephen Sherwin. He's done the race quite a few times. There's actually a whole story that we did on Dr. Sherwin that you can find on the race, the Bermuda race right now.
Right. He's a character too.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Right.
We're just hearing from us right now. We're gonna motor out of the way of in case this storm comes. Just bear with us. If we do have to end the broadcast, we will end it, and we won't be able to come back directly on this YouTube stream, but we will get another one up on BermudaRace.com as soon as we safely can.
Okay, here's.
So we've got, how much time do we have for the start? We don't have a camera on us right now, so you're just going to have to listen to us.
Right.
150 to the next start.
Okay.
Also in this start, we have Jules, Baltic 52, Thomas Dunn. I know a little bit too much about this boat. It just got a major refit at Jamestown Boatyard, Safe Harbors Jamestown Boatyard, that my husband was a part of. So he really wanted to do, got the boat right before the 2018 race. That was always been his goal. The 2020 race, the boat was ready, but of course, many of us
all dressed up and no place to go.
No place to go. But now he and his crew are on the starting line. We have Lyric, Jay Hansen, an X-Boat, Skyla, Marcus Larkamp, a Deller 46, Plenty, and Gemini 2, both Swan 45s. Big, used to be a big class around here. 1 minute to go to the start. And
more lightning.
Looking over our shoulder. Oh, we do have some pictures there for you. Lots of black sails coming in to the starting line. Everybody trying to sail. Luckily, they are sailing in the opposite direction.
Right. Well, this thing's coming northwest.
So, yes.
Southeast.
We're passing a boat right now. The boats that are on the side right now, everybody's getting their foul weather gear on, and they're starting to see some reef sails.
Yeah.
There we go. There's the gun. Was that one boat getting 30 seconds? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. That was 30 seconds. That was a boat not making the start, turning around.
Yeah, it's just a bit too close, had to peel off.
There's Stark Raving Mad, who's actually not in this class, coming in front of you. Steve Madden.
The black sail going away from us is Kodiak, the Navy, U.S. Naval Academy offshore sailing team.
3, 2, 1. So that is the start of class 16. So that was one of our bigger classes. Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right, sorry guys, we're just getting some feedback. So the race committee has decided to put up AP to see if this storm passes by. What we're gonna do is we actually have a couple of videos queued up for you to kind of be our intermission here. We were talking about the Race Ambassador program, and there's a great Jay Gowell, who is the chairman in 2020. He did a great introduction to about it. So we'll play that, and then after that, we'll probably queue up Hank Halstead, who is what is Hank's actual?
Hank is, I think he's qualifications.
Qualifications.
Right.
So if you decide to do the Bermuda race,
he's the guy who's going to be.
He's the guy, because technically this is an invitational.
Yes.
You don't just sign up for the event.
Right.
Right. You don't just sign up for the event. Right. You have to be invited. And Hank
very highly qualified guy.
Yeah. So so we'll do that, and we also have some. We'll bring up some videos about our partners at Safety at Sea, Sailors for the Sea, and but
Life Raft and Survival.
Life Raft and Survival is one of our sponsors, but. Sailors for the Sea and our efforts of the Old Green Steward program. We've got a video about that as well.
Yep.
I don't know if you're able to hear that. But in the distance, we're seeing the boats, taking off. I have a lot of feedback in my ear, like lots of static. What are we seeing now? Oh, that's Horsehead that you guys are looking at right now. That's actually a house that's been at the corner of Mackerel Cove in Jamestown for many, many years. Survived the hurricane of '38. That cupola you actually see there used to be full. Used to have glass in it, is what I was told, and then the hurricane of '38 blew out the windows, and there's actually still glass on the other side of in the hallway in that house because the major hurricane that came through here, which everybody always talks about in Rhode Island. So we're gonna now take a break here. We'll be back with any information, and we'll put some stuff in the YouTube chat as we know it. Everybody's hunkering down right now. We're in the becalm of the storm right now, and we'll be back soon. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back with more from the 52nd Newport Bermuda race when we can.
Hi, my name is Shelley Brown, and I'm the director of Sailors for the Sea, powered by Oceana. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and activate sailors and boaters from around the world to take action to protect our oceans and waterways. Being sustainable on board your vessel can take knowledge, experience, and preparation, and having a person that's dedicated to greening practices on your boat is really important because it's more likely to happen on your boat and it'll have a greater impact on our oceans.
Well, I think you have a responsibility to be very cognizant of what is leaving the boat. So discharging with respect to water, using dishwashing liquid and cleaners and shampoos and so forth that are environmentally friendly. So I try to use brands like 7th Generation that are made without harsh chemicals and so forth. Then we have using 100% recycled plastic.
This year, the Newport to Bermuda race is going for platinum level Clean Regattas status. And we're so excited that they started this new initiative because it goes beyond the events, beyond the sustainability initiatives that are happening on shore, and giving that responsibility and ownership to every team that is going to be competing in the race.
Every boat should already kind of be practicing those ideas, right? But calling it out explicitly and designating a person to be responsible for that is important. And I just think it adds awareness.
I have a lot of little ideas. Mostly just making sure that we're, not using plastic wraps, using Tupperwares, reusing plastic bags, always reef-safe sunscreen. When we're cleaning the boat, we can use non-toxic options for that. Baking soda and water, that's a good alternative.
I think a lot of people who sail are environmentally responsible to begin with, and I think everyone's going to be able to do their part and are happy to. They love the ocean as much as we all do, and they want to take care of it.
Being the youngest and also the only girl on the boat, I feel like I can be like, guys, listen up, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, my name's Leif Heimbold, and I'm racing on a Hinckley 51 called Momentum, and I'm the environmentalist. I think in general, sailors love the ocean and they want to take care of it. They want to protect it. So it's not a big stretch to say, can you do a few environmentally sound things in your preparation? The single-use plastics you buy, try to eliminate those. The clothing you can get recycled materials in your clothing. You can have filters that remove bilge contaminants out before you pump it overboard. Now, these aren't things that are too difficult to do, and I think people don't have any problem doing them. I was shopping around for new foul weather gear, and when I looked at Helly Hansen, they have a remarkable recycling program where they take plastics directly from the ocean and incorporate it into their materials for their jackets. And I was looking for foul weather gear, and I thought it'd be a great place to get some stuff. And I'm outside of Seabags, and Seabags happens to be the official sustainability sponsor for the Newport Bermuda race, and they take recycled sails and turn them into products, which they sell all over the country.
So we acquire all of our sails through our sail trade program, where individuals can bring us their old retired sails in exchange for product. We accept sails for trade at all of our retail locations, and we also have a sail trade team who are located regionally throughout the country who can orchestrate a pickup. Or if you don't live near a retail store or one of our sail trade team members, we can also cover the cost to have your sail shipped to us. The product you receive depends on the size and condition of your sail, and we'll even make you a product from your own sail.
I think a lot of people who sail are environmentally responsible to begin with, And I think everyone's going to be able to do their part, and are happy to. They love the ocean as much as we all do, and they want to take care of it.
It was incredible having that many youth sailors that have never sailed a boat of that size coming together and figuring out how to sail with each other, because I didn't know many of the people on the boat when I walked on, and same case for everyone else, and we learned how to work together, and in that role on that boat of that size. We had like a month before the race to train, and we were all in Newport, and we were going through each position, rotating out, and just spending long days of doing the boat work and prepping the boat, and then going out and training. And getting that experience was just so invaluable.
We take it very seriously, and we want the skippers to take it very seriously, but it's, like you said, it's not a guarantee that the boat is prepared to go see, that the crew will be safe, that the person in charge is qualified. It's just an opportunity to have a very experienced sailor come aboard who's done races like this in the past and complied with these regulations in the past.
Anchor is secure.
Help you get yourself ready. About 6 years ago, U.S. Sailing said, you know, we want to get into this and make simple, straightforward rules that everybody can follow and they can read it and understand it. They are very sort of plain English. They tell you, they're short blurbs, they tell you what you need to know and what you need to do to comply. And it's been a much easier task for the inspectors because boat owners can read them, understand them, and follow them much more easily. When I do inspections, I often learn a lot. I love going on to different boats and learning about how they solve different problems and do different things.
It's surprising you don't use the Velcro a lot, right? You don't you're not pulling up and down all the time because we don't utilize it.
I love this idea where it comes, you know,
well, you have to,
the little tab sticks out.
Yeah, so it makes it easy.
All you have to do is reach the tab and pull it up.
Exactly.
You know, and you push it down to make sure.
Yeah, it snaps right in place. Actually, when I was introduced to that technology it's very widespread now, but in competition skiing and slalom skiing, they use it to hold down the bindings now. Oh, so that's how strong that Velcro is.
Wow.
That holds you.
This opening here can't be more than 14 inches. I generally think it's a win-win on both sides. I've always had positive feedback from from participants at both the pre-race inspection, but also the inspection after the race. There are situations where a boat has reached out to us early on in the process and said, I want to do the race, can you come take a look? Which we're happy to do. Often, if something happens, it's usually 1 or 2 items that aren't compliant, and we talk to the skipper about exactly what they need to do to become compliant, and you know, they invite us back in a few weeks having done it, and they're ready to go. People take this process very seriously, which I you know, I respect of them. With a few exceptions, I've never had, in my tenure as an inspector, a vessel, quote unquote, fail the inspection and be uninvited from the race, or not be invited to the race.
The fundamental difference between our race and most races is, in truth, it is an invitational race. And the reason for that being that we're really trying to ensure the safety of the crews on the respective yachts for 100 hours between Newport and Bermuda. And this is a race course that can serve up any conditions and has served up in the past, everything from hurricanes to drifters. But without a doubt, every crew in this race will need to be self-sufficient for a default 100 hours. And this means the crew is fully ready with regard to basic seamanship for that amount of time, rigging repairs, mechanical repairs, first aid repairs to the crew. And in the event all of your electronics fail, to traditional navigation. The fundamental question we ask all entrants is whether the captain and navigator have done this event in one of the past 2 runnings in their respective capacity. In the event they have not done so, we would then ask the crew to submit what we call an offshore experience form, and it simply lists the offshore experience of the various afterguards, captain, navigator, and watch captains. We're very demanding with regard to the basics. However, we're not looking for massive experience. And it's one of the marvelous changes we've made for this running of the event by opening the entries 6 months earlier. So in the event the experience is light, we can actually get back to people this year. So in the summer of 2019, they can go get the experience required. Assign a bit of an offshore course, you know, say sail 150 miles in that direction, come on home and keep your logs and tell us about it. Perhaps we'd ask them to do one race or another in their various areas. Another thing we will do from time to time is, if we see short experience, we've been known to recommend other crew members to fill in the experience level of the crew. It's our goal to be as inclusive as we can possibly be. We're simply being a bit selective for the safety of the fleet. I can't recall telling someone you simply can't come.
John Rumenier is the historian of the Bermuda race and is a wonderful writer. And he has a great book that I recommend to anybody interested in the Bermuda race called The Birth to Bermuda. And it really captures the history of the race. It started in 1906 by a bunch of adventurous sailors from the New York area who were trying to dispel the myths that amateurs could not go to sea in small boats and race to Bermuda. So that's how it started. It's all about amateurs in small boats adventuring and making adventurous use of the seas. And since then, over 100 years later, the Newport Bermuda race is the largest ocean race in North America and one of the great epic bucket list items for any adventuring sailor who wants to go offshore.
30 seconds. Yeah, let's go for it.
It's a storied, legendary race, and everybody has their own story about why they do the Bermuda race, how many Bermuda races they've done. You know, Bermuda races that were calm, Bermuda races that were stormy, and you really never know what you're going to get because that time of year in the North Atlantic, you know, it can be pretty unpredictable. The Bermuda race is actually now about 6 or 7 races in one. We have double-handed class, we have a cruising division called Finisterre, the St. David's Lighthouse, which is all amateurs. We have the Gibbs Hill, which does allow pro skippers. We have an open division and a multi-hull division. So these are all races under the offshore racing rule, all scored under the same rule, but all in different divisions, and then within each division there are classes. We have something we call the Ambassador Program. So for first-time captains, if you're taking your boat to Bermuda for the first time, there's a significant effort involved in preparing your boat and your crew and yourself. The boat has to fulfill safety requirements that are specified, and they're internationally adopted and recognized. And you need to have specific safety equipment as well, and then you need to make sure your crew is trained. Part of the fun of it, if you are like me, you like the organizational challenge of pulling all these things together, finding out what the requirements are, and making sure you fulfill them. And so the Ambassador Program is something where we have experienced veteran Bermuda race captains and crews who can help guide people through not only the entry process, but also what requirements they need to have in order to successfully complete the race. Thing about, racing to Bermuda is that you get to Bermuda, which is really a tropical paradise. The weather's perfect, the people are wonderful, it's beautiful, great beaches, beautiful homes. It's absolutely a little paradise, and what a fitting reward to race several days in the ocean with a bunch of people on your boat. And when you get there, there's nothing like the hospitality of the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club and the Bermudians in general.
Second largest fleet of entries will leave Newport on Friday for the 52nd Newport to Bermuda race. One of the teams in the 200-boat field making some race history as one of the youngest all-female teams. GP Smallins introduces us to the squad with local ties.
7 months of preparation has them ready for their trip to Bermuda. 8 youth sailors, 7 from the Lincoln School, making up the all-female crew.
We, at the time, had an idea to do the Vineyard race, which is a almost 250-mile offshore race. And we were sort of planning to do that, and then we were like, well, what's next? And Bermuda kind of came up as a joke, and then our coach kind of entertained the idea, and he was like, you guys could make that work kind of at the rate you've been going, and we made it work. So
the process has been long. It's been a bit stressful, but it's been really great because everyone here is really committed to it, and we're all really involved and really excited for this opportunity. The team will be guided on board by their coaches, Libby Greeno and Michaela Robinson. The 635-mile trip expected to take 4 to 6 days, depending on the wind and the Gulf Stream. Facing off against some of the best crews in sailing, the Lynx team excited to show their mettle.
We're trying to play on their game, which is going to be a huge level to rise to, but I think it's going to be something where on the delivery home we will realize that we've become fairly seasoned offshore sailors just from doing this race, which is really cool to me.
We know that we're competing with a lot of boats that we're not necessarily at the same level as just technically, but we are feeling pretty confident in ourselves. We've done a lot of training, we've put in a lot of work, and we're just going to go out there and do our best.
I think once we get off the dock and we're out sailing, we're going to be really excited to just be where we are, and the nerves and the anxiety will sort of disappear a little bit. I think that it's going to be a really big accomplishment. I think finally getting to Bermuda, no matter how we place, no matter how we do, if we make it there, I think it's going to be really, really great.
In Newport, I'm JP Smallins, 12 Sports.
So I think the real importance of people joining a beach cleanup is getting out there and seeing what is in the water, what's on the beach, and having them go back and be able to make changes based on that. And one way that we really try to push that is by having people fill out tally sheets. And so we keep track of what people have been picking up so that we can help create changes in the environment and in our economy, and advocate for reduction of plastic bags, getting rid of cigarette smoking on sandy beaches, to try and get at that behavioral level. So the #1 beach cleanup item that we find is definitely cigarette butts, closely followed by food wrappers and things like plastic bottles and drink bottles.
Hi everyone, I'm Monica Pepe with Whale and Dolphin Conservation, and I'm here to share a little bit of information to help you prep for the Newport to Bermuda in the context of recent whale sightings and what to look out for marine life interactions during the race. So heading out of Newport, kind of traveling through an area that's a known habitat area for the critically endangered North Atlantic right whale. And so they've been seen in this area feeding, spending a decent amount of time, you know, in large groups, but also as individuals. And there have been a couple of recent surveys in the last week looking specifically for these North Atlantic right whales. There haven't actually been any sightings in the last week, but we know that they use this area throughout all times of the year as of late. So there is a chance that they could show up again. What I can tell you is that in the past couple of surveys that have been done this week, there have been a number of humpback whales and finback whales in this area. So this is likely an area that all the boats will be traveling through for the Newport to Bermuda. So, you know, these whales, humpbacks are somewhere around 50 feet in length, finbacks are 70 feet. So in some cases, these animals might be bigger than the boats that you're sailing on. So they can be difficult to spot, but I will say that this area, oftentimes they're using as a feeding ground. So if these whales are displaying feeding activity, that is often happening at the surface and can be a little bit easier to detect. However, if they are resting or diving below looking for schools of fish to feed on, they can be a little bit more difficult to spot. So really the detectability kind of depends on what the whales are doing when you're passing through that area. Beyond the continental shelf though, there's nobody really surveying in that area. So as far as what you might see further offshore, it's kind of anybody's guess. The survey teams that are out looking for North Atlantic right whales are really only going to areas where they're known to have been in the past. So they're not really exploring further offshore. So we know that there's a lot of marine life along the canyons as you get to the continental shelf. But beyond that, it's really hard to say what might be out there. What's exciting about all this is that you guys that are out sailing have an opportunity to be those eyes on the water to then report back what you're seeing when you're out there. So that can really help to supplement the research efforts that are currently ongoing. So we'd love it for you guys to note any sightings of whales, dolphins, porpoises, sea turtles, anything that you're seeing out there, and relaying that information back to us. And that way we can kind of build a better picture of what exactly might be seen also in future races from Newport to Bermuda.
So back on the starting line of the Newport Bermuda race, we have been in a AP here, postponement because of, you can kind of see right behind me right now, some dark clouds. We've had a system pass by. We saw some shots of lightning coming down, and so for safety reasons, we got Class 16 off. That means we have 3 more starts to go, but the race committee went in postponement. They are just announcing right now that they're preparing to go back into sequence. And they're confident that these storms are passing us by. So as soon as we can, we'll be bringing you back some pictures from the start. So we have 1 more St. David's Lighthouse to go, and then we go into the Gibbs Hill division, which is similar to the St. David's, but with a little more, less sort of constraints on rules about pros and things like that, and we'll bring you that. So that's where you're going to see some of these faster boats come in, some of the big sleds who are definitely going to make it to Bermuda pretty quickly. As we're dealing with the weather here, all those boats offshore are starting to deal with weather. So if you're just joining, I'm Kate Summers. I'm joined by Joe Cooper, who will join us in a minute. And we're slowly making our way back out to the starting line. You can see the Jamestown shore here behind me, and a couple of the boats. The wind has sort of started to come down. We're still dealing with a pretty big ebb tide, so we're definitely getting kind of rocked around here, out here.
Excuse me, Kate. I just looked at my AIS on my phone, and
I'm just getting an update for Joe Cooper off camera here.
11th hour is going over 16 knots.
11th hour racing is going over 16 knots,
I
and
couldn't find Argo or the other try.
couldn't find the other ones on AIS. But you could also check on our Blue Nose Yacht Tracker. We can bring you those speeds.
I've got the app.
Argo has already gone 50 miles. They're going 20 knots. So in a 600, ish mile race, that's, already approaching halfway to Bermuda in another few hours. And so this is definitely going to be a record-setting race for many of the boats out here. Here we got the tracker on there right now. This is the Blue Nose Yacht Sales Yellowbrook tracker. You can see there out in front the little icon that is Argo. If you are at home, you can either see this embedded on BermudaRace.com. If you're watching it right now, you can scroll down a little bit. Or if on a mobile device, download the YB Races and look for the Newport to Bermuda race. That will allow you to track all of the teams, see their speeds, their distance to the finish, and out there the weather. As you can see, the red on there, that is the wind out there. They're all sailing into even more wind that they're going to be joined with tonight. So right now we are hearing from the race committee that they're going to gear up for the race 16 or race 16 class 16. We've been out here for a while, folks.
I think punchy is the phrase.
Yeah, class 16, and
it was blowing so hard it blew the sock off my mind.
Yeah. But if you guys were sticking with us through the commercial break, if we will call it, we sort of had some videos in there introducing you about the race, especially if you want to get involved in the race in the future. There is plenty of information on BermudaRace.com about how to get involved in the race, get your boat ready. I think one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given was that if you want to do the race and you're thinking about it in 2024, which is our next race, don't wait to start thinking about it. It takes a lot of safety equipment and prep, things that you have to do to your boat. So reach out, do a safety inspection of your boat now. A lot of our safety inspectors are volunteers, but they're around and they're so willing to help. James Fife, who's the head, he's out here racing, so maybe wait till after he gets back.
Right.
But
he's in where is he? Wickford. Where's his office?
Yeah. He works for Safe Harbors.
Safe Harbors. So he's around.
So yeah, but they get a safety inspection now, and now you'll know what to do to prepare your boat. And every time, talk to other folks, everybody who does this race loves it. It's definitely, people have done it many times. And if you've done it many times, we actually have this thing called the Gulfstream Society. And if you've done 5 or more races, you get a pin. If you've done 10, you get a new color pin. And 25, which we actually have a couple of people out here who have done that many, pushing, or more than 20 races, 15 races.
A couple pushing 30.
So, yeah, which is crazy because that's 60 years of racing.
60 years of racing.
Yeah.
So I mean, just
so
think about that for a
so
minute.
on our website too, we have the list of all of those names. I think at the top is John Browning. He's
26.
Something, and Rich DeMoulin is just after him.
Right.
But I can pull my laptop up.
Kate, one thing on the safety inspection, if you go onto the BermudaRace.com website and you chase down the safety buttons, there will be a check sheet that the competitors who are on the water now had to complete. They had to have the stuff, have it on the boat, they check it off, and then their inspector comes along, looks at it, sees that you have it, and checks it off. And frankly, if you're thinking that you want to do this race, or maybe you want to get a bigger boat and retire and kind of do more sailing and less work, all of the stuff, all of the gear that people take, the safety equipment that we take on the Bermuda race, there's nothing in that list of gear that you would take on your boat when you go cruising and think this is a waste of time. Okay, it's all, yep, it cost a few bob, but it's all good stuff.
And it's also little things that are simple as you need to have a different way to pump water outside of using your system, because we want to make sure that you can have fresh water and that can pump through a foot pump. Or your floorboards need to be screwed down. Right. You can't just have them mounted down. Jesse Terry with Abigail, he got his classic ready for this race, and he was saying, it was just
old wooden boat.
Yeah, having to have an extra, clip to be able to in the companionway, for when coming up and down from the companionway that you're always clipped in. It was all these just little things that just added up that he had to get ready for, and it took him, he says, 7 years to really get ready for the race. Yeah, through everything. He's done the race on other boats, and it was a lot of preparation. So lots of great resources there. If you're thinking about it, hopefully, maybe watching some of this is inspiring you. But so.
We're out there.
I think that's Aurora, which we...
No, I'm pretty sure I saw Aurora Batesel down.
Yeah, we did hear something about...
Yeah, Aurora.
Oh yeah, the Aurora's headed back in. We did hear they think they're having some
technical
malfunction, so they're going into Newport to try and see if they can fix it and then restart. Or not, start. They haven't started.
So
they haven't started yet. They are in the Gibbs Hill.
Right. So they're trying to... And
oh, we are just getting sounds from the race committee that the AP is coming down, and we're going to go into class 16.
Imminently.
If I could just get one of my crew to hand me my binder and my laptop, I will be able to bring you definitely the information of who's in which classes. Thank you very much.
I really hope the Aurora guys can get back in the game, because the race, there's a boat, Kodiak, from US Naval Academy offshore team, and they are near sister ships. They're both Rykel-Pugh 66-footers, Rykel-Pugh being a design firm, and they look the same. They have the same paint job.
I know.
It's pretty...
And Aurora's done the race before, as different names, Blue Yankee, and that was OC 86 I was looking at before.
And it's also been a Kodiak. Kodiak was the name of a long-term competitor named Lloyd Ecclestone.
So we're... Yeah, so we've definitely seen the wind now here switching around behind the storm. There behind was AP, just came down.
And the breeze has backed off dramatically.
Yes, breeze is down.
A lot of cloud cover.
And it's almost hard to, the wind direction. It looks like it's actually coming from the northwest right now.
Right.
So this could be a downwind start. We might be able to see some spinnakers.
Right, the colored sails.
The colored sails coming up over the starting line. It's definitely gotten a lot quieter out here. Obviously, the spectator fleet is headed for the barn, and most of the fleet is actually offshore now. So we're into class 17, the last of St. David's Lighthouse.
That's the flags.
Just to reintroduce myself, I'm Kate Summers. This is Joe Cooper. If you're just joining us after the AP has come down, that we had a thunderstorm pass by, pretty close by. We're still seeing some dark clouds around us, so but they definitely, I think, are trying to get everybody out here off the line as safely as possible. So we are now within 10 minutes to start 15 class 17. These are the big boys and girls, but
there's a couple of girls on the Navy boat.
Yes. So we've been using GPS time to keep everything going, but obviously with the AP, we're just trying to sync our watches here to the race committee in a little bit. So the clock you're seeing could be just a little bit off. But let's talk about the boats we have in this division. Wizard, we have a lot of Reichel Pugh boats in here. Wizard, 74-footer. That's the fastest boat in this class, essentially. And then Aurora, Callisto, a Pack 52. That's a boat that's done quite a lot of racing. Todd Stewart's White Rhino. He actually had a Carkeek and another Swan before this, but he's now, the Swan 82 is now a new boat to him.
He had quite a normal race boat.
Yeah.
White Rhino too.
Yes. So now he's back to the Swan.
Right.
Kodiak, that's the
Navy boat.
We have Arctos, the Andrews 70. They're a Great Lakes boat that's come down. Stark Raving Mad, James Madden has had many Stark Raving Mads. This is his Swan 601. Pterodactyl, definitely a big...
It's a Nelson Marrick 45?
Yeah, actually no, it's a Reichel Pugh as well, I believe. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Those guys
I know. Reading the scratch sheet definitely helps.
Why should I argue with you?
Yeah. So it's definitely a bit different than what you guys were seeing before we were here.
Yeah.
Now the wind is coming from the other side of the starting line. Boats are sort of reaching back and forth right now with their jibs up. Are we seeing anybody putting their spinnakers on their deck?
No, not yet. I'm not seeing that. Who's this guy over here? Is that Kodiak?
Yeah. This is the Oak Cliff 86. They'll be in the Gibbs Hill after us.
Right, okay.
So we got Pterodactyl is out here. Temptation Oak Cliff. Arthur Santry, he's done this race a few times, been with that team for a while. He brings Oak Cliff sailors out on that boat. Oak Cliff, if you're not familiar with at home, is Dawn Riley, and she runs a school down in Long Island Sound that basically is for educating and preparing young people to get onto offshore boats and roles and jobs and
to work in that high performance sailboat racing industry. So they learn composite, sail making, electronics, and they go sailing. They do racing rules, they do match racing. It's the closest thing that I can think of in this country that is a formalized education for young offshore interested high performance sailors.
So Arthur takes boats on his boat, and then there's the OC-86, which you'll see in the Gibbs Hill, and also we have 4 turbo FAR 40s, and all these people have been training for the last few months at Oak Cliff down in Long Island, and we'll talk about them when we get to it. But also we have Ricky, another Reichel Pugh, Bruce Chafee's Reichel Pugh 42, which is kind of interesting about this class. We've got an 80-foot boat and an 82-foot Swan and a 42-foot Reichel Pugh, but at the end of the day, their ratings kind of end up working out similarly.
Just because you're 80 feet long doesn't necessarily mean you're faster than the 45
It's a displacement boat, yeah.
Right.
And Matador, which is another Matador, we've got 2 of those. Oh, we're actually getting a little bit of rain here. And Spitfire, the Mudrats team, another youth offshore syndicate, which is great to see so many of these coming about.
There's about 5 of those types of entities around.
Yeah, so the Mudrats are here with Spitfire, that's
a Corel 45.
Corel 45 that is new to them. They actually just recently got it, so they've been, I think, trial by fire, getting ready for that one too. and then Crossfire a J125, and Spectre 4 a J145. Spectre 4, he's done this race other times with Spectre 3. This is a new boat for him, for James Pintz. So what is our time?
Oh, signal.
There we go. So that was 4 minutes, so we're just about our,
yeah, that's a second or so, right.
Signal is just about right. We're seeing people just sailing back and forth. Hopefully we can get a little bit closer.
Yeah, there's like
for you
nobody
guys.
here now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am not seeing. No, one boat's got a kite egg on the deck.
Yeah. That's Temptation with the blue stripe. Oh, that we're now passing back.
Yeah, I think the Kodiak boat has.
There's Temptation.
Yeah.
If we could just hold there. Hopefully we'll get you guys down closer to the starting line so that we can see some of these boats. We're just report what we're seeing there. But you can see now the race committee boat is
not rocking and rolling.
Not rocking and rolling, because now we've got the current and the wind going a little more, so it's a little less lumpy.
Yeah, so the Kodiak Navy guys have a crew on the bow, and they'd have to be setting up a kite. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
You know.
It's definitely, we're seeing it kind of getting, you're actually seeing your picture, it's getting a little darker. We're getting a little rain here now, which is why we can't quite get you any aerials right now, but we're going to try and get as close as possible for you guys. I believe, yeah, that's Kodiak right there. I guess we could sit, yeah. Yeah. Well, if you guys just bear with us right now, and we're gonna.
Okay. We're gonna. You got your computer? I'll get the table.
Trying to keep the electronics dry, so we.
What did Johnny Carson say? It's live TV, folks.
Yes.
So I'm gonna.
So, Rodrigo's actually gonna come inside right now. Is.
Camera chappy.
Our cameras are not waterproof. So
there's that.
You just. Yeah. Here's Rodrigo coming in.
Still live on you, Rodrigo.
Thanks. So 1 minute and 30 seconds to the start. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I give everybody my best angle here.
Yeah. So we're just.
So these guys, as we saw in the earlier starts, many people were lining up on starboard tack to cross the starting line.
Yeah, it is, but it's realistic.
Yeah, so the dark, you're seeing your screen get dark here because we do have some black clouds passing over us right now. So right there, you've got 5202, and that's Pterodactyl with the 4505. Wizard there, right to the right of your screen. You're seeing the rain come down now as the visibility kind of starts to go. It's bouncing off the water here. Lovely Newport afternoon. That's so we've got 20 seconds to the start. You're probably just going to see, there we go, there's Wizard peeling down. And nav lights on, everybody. We've got a spectator boat.
Guns away. So
yeah. Well, that's a boat Ohana is not racing. There we go.
That's a boat on the far right there.
You go.
It's got a kite up, first kite.
Who's our, yep. So that is the start of Class 17, the last of the St. David's Lighthouse. We've got spinnakers flying.
The Arcturus guys are struggling to get that kite up. There they go.
Can you peel left, Chris, so that we can see Rodrigo's camera can see better?
Yeah.
Got it.
And,
there we go.
Is that pterodactyl close to us with
There There we go, White Rhino. Able to tell who they are. They got a nice rhino on their kite. They've got the sock going up right now. So this is exciting. We're now having a downwind start. Haven't had a downwind start in the Bermuda race in quite a few years. So exciting that these guys are getting it. There's Matador on the right-hand side of your screen. I believe that's Callisto there in the center, the Pack 52.
So who's this close to us here?
This is Matador coming at us right now.
They're going hot and high.
So it's interesting now. We're seeing the boats sailing. They start at the boat on starboard, are setting their kites, and they're aiming kind of for Point Judith now. So they're probably going to see them coming out here, and then for a while, so they know they can clear R2 and then jibe for
the run line, R2.
Yeah.
So that one of the issues, particularly for the shorter waterline boats here, is there is still a considerable chop on the water left over from when the southerly was blowing 15 or so against an outgoing tide. So you'll see who we got here. That blue band kite.
That's
you'll see the boats bobbing up and down.
There we go. There's the whole fleet starting there.
Right, and you can see the clouds on the top too. I
don't think this northerly is long with the storm that just passed through.
Right.
I'm not sure. Definitely very different than the starts we saw just a few hours ago.
Right, an hour ago.
Slogging it upwind.
Right.
And now these guys are kind of. But this isn't the breeze that they're going to run into offshore. So soon they're going to transition, wouldn't you think?
Well,
but
I don't
who
know.
knows when?
I mean, this is what the forecast was. Front coming through, northwest, thunder, lightning.
We got a battery for you.
And it's perfectly plausible that it's just a day early. Would be the first time.
Yeah. And so that was the start of Class 17. The last of St. David's Lighthouse, our largest division. And now we transition to Gibbs Hill. So what's the difference between St. David's and Gibbs Hill, would you say?
St. David's is very much the high test, I think, as you can see here. And I think the Gibbs Hill guys are sort of back to the kind of medium test, a little bit family-friendly boats. Is that right?
No, our
right?
Gibbs Hill, Gibbs Hill teams are our teams that can be fully pro.
Oh, okay.
There's less limits on things like that. So this is kind of, a little bit more. You can have more sails and more things like that.
Sorry, I didn't read that page.
No worries. No worries. So we have 2 more divisions to go. Class 18 and 19. Class 18 actually has 3 of those, or 1, 2, 3. The Oak Cliff Far 40s.
Yep.
Are in this division.
With the girls?
Yeah. I was actually just.
Yes. Go.
Yes. Oh, they're here.
Yep.
There's 3 Far 40s.
Right.
Sorry. Yes.
They're color coded.
Yes.
Right.
And Far 40 blue. That is the.
Essentially the Lincoln School.
The Lincoln School, which if you stuck around and saw the ads, we actually had they were on the local news here.
Oh yeah, they've been quite the ruckus.
Yes. So they are. Most of them are from the Lincoln School from girls.
Yep.
But with Libby Greenall from Greenall was on.
She's 2-time Volvo competitor.
Most recently with Team SCA.
Team
and
SCA.
She is their coach on board.
She's their coach on board. Yep.
So they're super excited
They're
be doing
teenagers.
it.
They're high school girls with, somebody at the level of Libby who's done 2 laps around the planet in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So it's I didn't have anybody like that when I did a Hobart race.
Yeah. Well, now look at that. Everybody, it's sailing off into the sunset. That's Class 17 that you're looking at. That is. So we're going to bring you back down to the starting line here in a moment for Class 18, the Gibbs Hill. Also in this class, this is also the J121s. We have Dark Storm, Eagle, Ace, and Wings. Those are the J121s. These are kind of some of the latest of the
J-boat.
Of the J-boat designs. So in here, we also have Wings, which is the Coast Guard boat. It's listed as Bradley Brown, but that's Bradley's actually local kid who grew up sailing around here, who's actually now teaches at the Coast Guard Academy, and he's their person in charge. But the rest of it is cadets. Desperado, we mentioned Nika Sailing, their J120 custom boat. But also in this class is Alchemist, the Sunfast 3300. We want to give a shout out to our yacht, the Blue Nose Yacht Sales, who is sponsoring our tracker, but the owner of which is also on board Alchemist.
With his son.
With his son and a few friends on their new Sunfast 3300. But that boat has also done quite a bit of sailing itself. Kenny Reed and Susie Leach did some double-handed offshore sailing on that.
They put that boat together last season and sailed the bejesus out of it around here. There's a number of double-handed offshore races out of Newport, and they did them all, and I think they were 7-0 or something, or 5, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's a great boat that's kind of set up for
well,
that.
it was designed and built, and I think the backstory is when there was a potential for the Olympics to have a double-handed offshore class, a lot of the bigger boat building companies said, okay, maybe we should take a look at this. And the 3300 is the output from the Jeannot guys, who are one of the biggest
Darren Walters is Glenn's son, who's actually listed as the skipper on here.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a family affair. Yep. They're not sailing double-handed. They're sailing as a group of friends.
I think they're 4 or
but
5. Yeah.
How many? We've got within 2 minutes to the start. We're seeing them all come into the starting box right now.
Ooh.
We're getting handed the radar to us right now. We're looking at the radar on the phone. Do you want to show it on the screen here? We've got a very colorful radar coming at us right now. So we've got some rain here.
We're in the rain now.
We're in it now. But we're looking out at the start. The boats behind us. We just have 2 more classes.
One of the things here is that as the rain comes on, the wind is...
sorry. Just on the right side of your picture, that's the Sunfast. It's got the BYS on the sails.
Blue Nose Yacht Sales.
Yep, they're definitely the closest to the line right now. And we also are seeing some of those the Oak Cliff boats coming in to set up.
Right. If you know what a 540 looks like, they're the 540, but they all have bowsprits that have been reconfigured, if you will.
You can see the rain pouring in front of this right now.
Oh, man.
It's actually the 540s also have the Regatta Craft Mixers logos on the sails, so that's sometimes easy to see.
Oh, okay.
Over here, on the left here, we'll be coming in. That's Eagle. That's one of the J121s. That's 1 minute to go. It is raining very hard right now.
With next to no wind.
Yeah.
If you look at if you can see the flag on the committee boat, the orange flag is just limping along there.
So the storms are coming through and
sucking the
wind
breeze
right
out.
Yeah. Which is sort of I don't know, I'd say ironic for the fast boats here. I mean, the super fast boats were our first classes that got off, and then now we're down to some of our faster
other
crews.
faster boats.
But we're seeing definitely I saw a lightning strike as I say that, but or lightning in the distance.
Another squall coming across here in a sec too.
There goes on the J121. We're seeing people starting to raise. Those kites are going out on the tack on the end of the poles. The bow people are hitting there.
3-2.
It's pretty interesting, with
signal.
There we go.
We're off to the races.
Kites going up. From our distance,
individual recall.
Foul weather gear tends to have those high-vis hoods, and everybody's got their high-vis hoods, so when you're looking out there, you're just seeing a bunch of little neon heads in the distance. But there we go. One of the Oak Cliff boats struggling to get their kite up there, right there in the background there. the kite has filled before they have been able to get it to the top. So
somebody's grinding.
Somebody's grinding. In the foreground here, that white kite, that's
a J boat.
That is probably one of our J121s.
They have the pretty nice start.
That was pretty good. They still got a foot on that halyard, but they'll get there.
So there's a boat on the far side, just a little bit to the right of this J121.
687. That's Wings. That's the Coasties right there.
Out over there?
Yeah, that we were just talking about.
All right. Well, they're started to leeward, and poor old Glenn was broke the start. The Coasties over there were far to leeward, and they're not looking too interested in a kite. They're seeming to be sailing a pretty high and hot angle.
Yeah.
Now the other thing is that there's two boats to leeward here.
That's why they're struggling to keep their kite. Yeah.
That's exactly right. There's
and that boat to leeward is 5-1.
There's a couple of
boats. That's Desperado.
A little bit to the north. Yeah,
that's the Webb offshore, Webb University offshore sailing
modified
team.
120, right?
Yep.
Sorry,
yep.
guys, I'm going to take us back to the last start.
So we're just going to do a little bit of a U-turn here and get back to the next start. But
so one more start to go. If you've been
folks.
bearing with us, it's been over 3 hours since the first start. We've been live to you from the mouth of Narragansett Bay in everything from 6-foot seas and sun to
6-foot seas and
super seas and fog to thunderstorms to
rain.
Now a rain squall.
Now no wind.
But that now brings us to Class 19. Class 19 is pretty exciting. You might see some familiar boats if you're a sailing fan here. We actually have 2 former Volvo 70s. One is now called Ocean Breeze, and the other, they still keep the name Il Mostro, also former known as Puma. And those are both out here. The Ocean Breeze actually has the map-free sail, so you may notice it looking familiar if you follow the Volvo Ocean Race. They've now belong to some ocean racing groups that there's a group of people on there. Il Mostro itself, I was talking to a friend on board, and it's a pretty international group. They have a Scot, they have Belgian, they have French Canadian, so there's a lot of French being spoken on board, switching between French and English. But a lot of them have a connection to Maine.
That's going to be an interesting sail change.
Yeah, but a lot of them have a connection to Maine and Biddeford Pool, so they're actually flying under the Biddeford Pool Yacht Club Burgee on their Volvo 70. So shout out to them if they're watching from Maine.
You got to have a sense of humor for this, right?
Not only that, they also have bagpipes on board. They were planning on playing bagpipes on the way out to the start. Obviously, we might have missed that in the storm. But if you're going to be in Bermuda, you might be able to see them coming into Bermuda underneath bagpipes on the bow of the Volvo 70.
Works for me.
Also, in this start, we have the OC-86, the newest member of the Oak Cliff family.
Yep.
Dawn Riley is on board that boat.
Yep.
Accomplished sailor herself. Yep. Terry Glacken's Prospector, the Mill 68.
Yep.
That's definitely a boat to watch here. They have a pretty solid crew that have been sailing together for a while.
Yep.
Osprey is a Grand Mistral 80. Warrior 1, Pack 52. Warrior 1 won the Caribbean 600 this year. They went out and did the Transpac last year. Chris Sheehan is from Larchmont and has put together a pretty good crew. So they're going to be looking to do that. There you are seeing one of the Oak Cliff boats. It looks like the spinnakers are down now on a lot of those boats.
Yeah, gone west.
Some people are still trying to carry them. Some have dropped them. It actually looks like the boats that have dropped them, like the one in your foreground there, actually seem to be cruising along a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then off in the distance there as they sail into the fog. So then coming back down to this start, leaving off, the last 2 boats I'll mention is Hooligan, another TP52. And Hooligan actually won their division of the Block Island race just a couple weeks ago. Hooligan's been out here under different, but this is under new ownership, John Evans and John Sheehan. And then lastly, Triple Lindy, Joe Melly, Cookson 50. He's campaigned quite a bit, Caribbean 600. He even went down and did the Sydney Hobart a couple years ago, along with Chris Sheehan and Warrior 1 in their former boats. You might have just seen that lightning flash out here. We're definitely in the middle of another one of these afternoon squalls. Happy Friday. Right there in your foreground.
You ready for crew trivia?
Yeah, 606.
That's Prospector?
Or is that Warrior? No, Warrior one's blue.
Prospector, what is it?
Oh, that's Prospector. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Prospector trivia, there's a crew member, Karina Becker.
We actually played a video about her
Did you?
earlier
Okay.
from when she was after The Gambler from 2018.
And so there's Karina Becker, and her brother Key Becker is aboard Hooligan, okay, family and friends, okay, and their dad is driving the 105,
That's
Young American.
4 minutes.
So that's 3 family members out of 4 strewn across 3 boats.
That's and Karina was part of the winning High Noon team.
So was Key, and so was Peter.
And so was, oh yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
in
And
16.
then now it's like there's got to be some family bragging rights now, just kind of going.
Well,
back.
they just, you know, that was the race they did, and now it's, you know, what are we
No, I
going to
mean
do
for
now?
this race.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially when your brother's actually in the same fleet as you.
He's a year older brother, right?
Yeah.
And there's 2 or 3 other kids from that 216 High Noon group sailing in different classes around here.
You're doing good.
So where's Madfree? Is that over there with the reef?
I saw them earlier down there. We're just gonna.
I mean, it's kind of hard to miss a big boat with a black mainsail with Madfree on it.
Madfree on it, yeah. So we're going down to the starting line to try and get a little closer as it's getting a little foggier and rainier here. I'm sure the race committee, everybody's excited to see this last start.
The last guys off.
It's been 4 years of building for this,
right.
Especially after the years we've been all having recently. We've got just under 3 minutes, or 2.5, sorry, to go for this last start. Hearing a little bit of thunder in the distance.
There's more rain coming down the track here.
Yeah. We're looking, the boat's going far away in the distance now.
Right.
So behind us here, they're setting up. What are we seeing, Joe?
Well, these are largely a lot of the now almost, I don't want to say superfluous, but the race committee support boats have done their deed, and they're standing by to recover the marks with this last start.
So just 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go. Everybody is setting up, similar to what we've seen on the other boats. If we could, we'll just be spinning around here.
What do you want me to do? Just turn left. Just rotate left. Yep.
Here's one of our Marshall boats that you're seeing.
Right. If you've been on the water, you've been probably been addressed by them.
So what we're seeing is the boats are lining up a little bit further away. There we go. There's our race committee boat to the right. There's the 1 minute gun to go.
Yeah.
The wind is definitely lightening up. That is Warrior 1 you're seeing all the way over on the right-hand side. Looks like they have, is that their code 0? Maybe?
Well, they've got the 0 out on the sprint. They haven't deployed it.
Yeah, maybe ready. Maybe looking at the fleets ahead of them, seeing if the kite and the
breeze was going sort of back to the south a little bit. It was A2 there for the previous couple of starts, but we saw them get down the track some, and the breeze went forward, and a lot of the boats had to peel off and get their A2s off.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at that going, all right, let's get the 0 up and ready to roll.
And that's Hooligan, I believe, right there in the white boat that you're seeing.
Okay.
And then just to the left of the screen as we pan, there's OC 86 coming into the picture. That's the new Oak Cliff boat. But man, look at them just sort of drifting to the line. I don't think you're going to be worried about. There's 2, 1. There's the gun of the last start.
All right.
A little bit different than before.
That is the most reserved start of the whole race, isn't it? With
little
the most
anticlimactic,
right.
if we will, here, as the wind just sort of shuts off.
So
but as the boats kind of creep along here.
Christian has deployed the 0.
Yeah.
But the 0 is looking pretty.
There's OC 86. There's the newest Oak Cliff boat. I don't know if you can hear those booms of thunder as well.
All of Kate, all of these inflatable boats with people in them from marshals and race committee and the race committee people.
There's 6133. That's Triple Lindy. And then, well, yeah, we're who's going to cross the line first? There's actually nobody has crossed the line yet from class 19.
Oak Cliff.
Here we go. There's Oak Cliff crossing the line.
Yeah, Sheehan's taken a...
and then Sheehan right down there on the right-hand side of your screen.
He's taken a big header.
Yeah.
He's peeled off 20 degrees to get the 0 to fill.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he will make the pin at this point.
Well, it will be. He isn't either.
Yeah. If we'll just look to your left right there, there's Triple Lindy now having to kind of... Are they trying to go between the race committee boat
there?
Oh, there we go. Oh,
they're sticking their bow in there.
Sticking their bow in there. The bow guy's waving as we speak.
Right. Up.
Yeah. And
probably as you go up. Well,
let's see. Are they
yeah.
Everything kind of happens.
Guessing.
A little bit stalled out now.
Yeah, so Warrior 1's rolled up to 0. So they're looking to do something else. Okay, what's the next move?
Yeah.
Guys, hurry up and stand by to stand by.
Yeah. So that's Triple Indy in the foreground there. Not even sure. It could be OC86. If you're looking at your screen right now, you're seeing that the rain has stopped a little bit, just drizzle now, but it is glassy. We just are kind of got the waves still left over from the wind before. There go on your left there now coming 60669. That's Prospector.
Prospector.
And our friends on the Volvo 70s are actually quite down the line. It looks like they'd put up smaller jibs and reefed their sails. There's Map Freight, the old Map Freight mainsail, but now Ocean Breeze. I think they prepared for the bigger breeze.
20 knots of breeze, right.
But I don't see anybody, I guess they're not planning on shaking out that reef.
Well,
right
I think that's a little bit of a function of the program for that boat, which I think is sort of a charter guest kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure that there's...
Ready to go.
The Juggy Cloughlin and the Jerry Kirby's ready to leap into it.
Gotcha. And then further
Susie
down
Leach's.
there on the right-hand side of your screen, I believe that is Osprey, because that's the one boat we haven't seen yet. And then all the way to the left, we're going to show you is Il Mostro. That's the other Volvo 70, kind of still painted in the way of the Puma boat, if you remember, looking like a shoe. But wow, what a difference then from the start one.
Never mind a day. What a difference 3 hours makes.
Yeah. But we'll go ahead and we're so glad you guys joined us today for this ride, if you will. I'm Kate Summers.
Joe Cooper.
This is Joe Cooper. We were also joined by John Burnham earlier today. All part of the team here that has been bringing you information. Joe actually gets to go on tonight as the communications officer. He's the one that everybody will be talking to offshore. We also really want to thank all of our sponsors. Also our amazing driver here, Chris Bulger, and the rest of our crew there's Rodrigo. This team has definitely tried to adapt. Behind the camera right now, you got TJ Thran, and our wonderful director, Chris Love, is back here, and Elsa Kincaid. So it's been a great wild ride here.
Excuse me.
Yes.
May I say a word?
Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Good. So we're all good in here because we're dry, but this race, certainly right now, with the people out on the water, but the background, the backstory to this race is something like 400 or 500 volunteers in a whole slew of different committees that make things go, and they're all volunteers. They all do this because they love the game, the sport, this sort of funny thing that we do called sailing. And I'd just like to say that one of the threads of sailing that keeps us all together and binds us are the people, the experiences, and the people that we get to have those experiences with. And one of those was a wonderful fellow known to many people in Newport, Robin Wallace, And he was, for one time, the PRO and the race committee. He was very involved in the background of organising a race. For those of you on the water with the spectator things, he was a guy that designed the little chartlet and the pink ribbons you have. Robin passed away last year, very sadly, and he's left a pretty decent sized hole in the heart of the Newport sailing community. And
I don't want to interrupt that, but we're just seeing we're seeing people actually starting to move on the line there.
Warrior,
There's Warrior 1. They committed to that code 0.
Yeah.
And they're
Who's going out the other way?
They're going the other way, but they seem to be the only ones moving right now among that fleet.
Well, that's the thing. They're still getting the push from the ebb.
Yep.
You know, the committee boat is still getting pushed to the right.
So we're gonna.
I think it's time for dark and stormy.
I think it is time for a dark and stormy. We want to thank all of our sponsors who made this possible: the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club and the CCA. And for you at home, continuing to follow this, go to BermudaRace.com. There's the Blue Nose Yacht Sales tracker right on there. We will be bringing you lots of stories. Follow us on social media at Bermuda Race on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we'll be constantly bringing you stories. There's a lot of boats out there that actually have the ability to upload, and they're going to send us photos and videos. So we're going to keep telling the story, and then we'll pick it up in Bermuda again with some of our friends down there. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 years.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you.